Chapter 42. Lieutenant Colonel Shang plucked up his courage. Sir, it's not good for you to be alone, right? Gu Lingqing's sharp gaze swept over him like an ice blade. What's not good about it? Go back and prepare. Let Song Lang go to the island for a drill tomorrow. Lieutenant Colonel Shang didn't dare to say anything else. Yes. Although Bai Ye's injuries weren't serious, they were all abrasions and they were on her back. She couldn't wash and disinfect them herself. The nurses cleaned them up for her before sending them back. Bai Ye laid on the bed. She was so hungry that her chest was almost touching her back. She didn't eat anything in the afternoon because she felt awkward. The smell of food hit her nose, and she became even hungrier. Gu Lingqing pushed the door open, and the nurses came in with a bowl of mullet soup, sweet and sour pork ribs and stir-fried vegetables with mushrooms. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked gently. Bai Ye felt a subtle sweetness in her heart, and she nodded. She would remember. Maybe it was because her back was scarring. It hurt when she moved. If you don't want the wound to split open, just lie down and don't move, Gu Lingqing said. She looked at Gu Lingqing. His gaze softened. I'll feed you. In the morning, he was still the one lying on the bed. Now he was the one. Are your head and hand okay? Bai Ye asked with concern. I put them up to avoid the banquet tonight. Of course I'm fine, Gu Lingqing explained. He patiently removed the bones from the fish, put it into a spoon and passed it to her. The doctor said that this is good for scars. She felt a lot more at ease when he was fine. Bai Ye ate the fish that he passed to her and her heart throbbed. Gu Lingqing, do you have any wishes? Bai Ye asked. She wanted to do her best to help him achieve it. Don't you know my wish? Gu Lingqing looked at her with a burning gaze. Bai Ye remembered what he wanted. He didn't expect that his wish was for herself. Bai Ye looked down. She was sick and he didn't want to make things difficult for her. What about you? She had many wishes. She wanted to be an outstanding doctor. She wanted to be with the man she loved and be together forever. She wanted to cook for the man she loved and watch the stars and the moon with him. She wanted her mother to get better soon. She wanted the happiness of the people she cared about. She wanted the happiness of the people she cared about. Go to Provence. I took my mother to travel there. It's a place she has always wanted to see, Bai Ye said in a low mood. That's easy. If the money is not enough, I'll pay for it, Gu Lingqing said generously. Bai Ye shook her head. My mother is mentally ill. She will hurt people when it gets serious. She can't be bailed out. Gu Lingqing furrowed his brows and didn't speak again. He concentrated on helping her remove the fish bones. Bai Ye looked at his handsome face. When he was focused, he was like a perfect work of art in the hands of a sculptor, especially his eyes, which were like the brightest stars in the sky. Bai Ye looked at his handsome face. When he was focused, he was like a perfect work of art in the hands of a sculptor. His eyes were like the brightest stars in the sky. Yeah. Bai Ye did not deny it. Compared to Su Jieran? Gu Lingqing asked with raised brows. Compared to Su Jieran? Gu Lingqing raised his eyebrows. He was born with elegance and an unruly aura. He had an aura that could make people go crazy. He was the type that could make thousands of girls scream when he appeared. There's no comparison. Then which do you like better? Gu Lingqing wanted to know why. Bai Ye felt that this sentence was a trap. If she said that she liked him, it would be like a confession. But she really didn't like Su Jieran anymore. I'm not a little girl anymore. I've passed the age of dreaming. I don't care about a man's appearance, Bai Ye said ambiguously. Then what do you care about? Gu Lingqing didn't want to let her go. My heart. Bai Ye simply said one word. This word was all-encompassing. She looked into Gu Lingqing's deep eyes. They looked at each other as if something was colliding in the air, creating layers of sparks. Gu Lingqing slowly moved closer to her. Bai Ye's breathing became heavier and heavier. She had the urge to kiss him. I want to eat pork ribs, Bai Ye said, breaking the atmosphere. Gu Lingqing didn't move closer. He cleared his throat and picked up a piece of pork ribs for her. He only started eating after she was done. Bai Ye lay on the bed and looked at him. She felt that he was quite good at taking care of people. If you look at me again, I won't be able to control myself, Gu Lingqing said hoarsely. Bai Ye blushed. She turned her face to the other side, with the back of her head facing him. Gu Lingqing couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. If she wasn't injured, he might not be as easy to talk to as he was now. After eating, Gu Lingqing lay on his bed. He didn't turn off the lights. Baiya was quiet. She didn't look at him, but she could feel his presence. Gradually, she closed her eyes. In the middle of the night, she had too much water and needed to go to the toilet. She crept up quietly. Gu Lingqing was alert. He turned on the lights and held her. He asked worriedly, "What's wrong?" Baiya blushed. "I need to go to the toilet." Gu Lingqing couldn't help but carry her and walk to the toilet. "It's not that serious. It's just a scratch. I feel much better now," Baiya said awkwardly. "If you don't want your wound to split open and lie in bed for a few more days, shut up," Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. After he carried her to the toilet, he put her down gently, turned around, walked out of the toilet and closed the door. Xiu could also make sounds. Baiya could feel her face burning. After much difficulty, she opened the door and came out. Gu Lingqing picked her up again and put her back on the bed without giving her a chance to speak. She closed her eyes, but she didn't sleep. Gu Lingqing lay down again and turned off the lights. He didn't say anything. Baiya looked at his blurry shadow in the dark. In the 3 years of marriage, Su Jieran had never been in the same room with her like this. She spent days and nights alone in the empty room. Guarding. She felt that she was no longer a woman, and she had also lost confidence. "Thank you, Gu Lingqing," Baiya said sincerely. She was really grateful to him. Not only did he warm her in life, but he also warmed her heart. What did she do to deserve his love? Gradually, she fell asleep. When she woke up, Gu Lingqing was no longer there. Lu Shuang pushed the door open and saw Baiya lying on the bed. He looked worried. "What happened to you? How did you get hurt like this? Why are you here?" Baiya was surprised. Lu Shuang smiled ambiguously. "Your man called me and told me that you're staying in this room, and asked me to take care of you. What happened to you? Is it serious?" "I had a small car accident." "It's not serious. I've already had a checkup. It's just some abrasions. I'll be fine soon. Maybe I'll be discharged in the afternoon. Don't worry." Baiya turned around to show that she was really fine. "It's good that you're fine. Do you know what this is?" Lu Shuang took out a recording pen from his bag. Chapter 43. Lieutenant Colonel Shang plucked up his courage. "Sir, it's not good for you to be alone, right?" Gu Lingqing's sharp gaze swept over him like an ice blade. "What's not good about it? Go back and prepare. Let Song Lang go to the island for a drill tomorrow." Lieutenant Colonel Shang didn't dare to say anything else. Yes. Although Baiya's injuries weren't serious, they were all abrasions and they were on her back. She couldn't wash and disinfect them herself. The nurses cleaned them up for her before sending them back. Baiya laid on the bed. She was so hungry that her chest was almost touching her back. She didn't eat anything in the afternoon because she felt awkward. The smell of food hit her nose and she became even hungrier. Gu Lingqing pushed the door open, and the nurses came in with a bowl of mullet soup, sweet and sour pork ribs and stir-fried vegetables with mushrooms. "Are you hungry?" Gu Lingqing asked gently. Baiya felt a subtle sweetness in her heart, and she nodded. She would remember. Maybe it was because her back was scarring. It hurt when she moved. "If you don't want the wound to split open, just lie down and don't move," Gu Lingqing said. She looked at Gu Lingqing. His gaze softened. "I'll feed you." In the morning, he was still the one lying on the bed. Now he was the one. "Are your head and hand okay?" Baiya asked with concern. "I put them up to avoid the banquet tonight." "Of course they're fine," Gu Lingqing explained. He patiently removed the bones from the fish, put it into a spoon and passed it to her. "The doctor said that this is good for scars." She felt a lot more at ease when he was fine. Baiya ate the fish that he passed to her, and her heart throbbed. "Gu Lingqing, do you have any wishes?" Baiya asked. She wanted to do her best to help him achieve it. "Don't you know my wish?" Gu Lingqing looked at her with a burning gaze. Baiya remembered what he wanted. He didn't expect that his wish was for herself. Baiya looked down. She was sick, so he didn't want to make things difficult for her. What about you? What's your wish? She had many wishes. She wanted to be an outstanding doctor. I hope to get the person of my heart, to grow old together. She wanted to cook for the man she loved for the rest of her life, and accompany him to watch the stars and the moon in the sky. I want my mother to get better soon. She wanted everyone she cared about to be happy. She seemed to be too greedy. Go to Provence. I brought my mother there for a trip. It's a place she has always wanted to visit, Baya said in a low mood. That's easy. If you don't have enough money, I'll pay for it, Gu Lingqing said generously. Baya shook her head. My mother has a mental illness. When it gets serious, she will hurt people. She can't be bailed out. Gu Lingqing frowned and didn't say anything else. She concentrated on picking out the fish bones. Baya looked at his handsome face. When he was focused, he was like a perfect piece of art in the hands of a sculptor. Especially his eyes. They were like the brightest stars in the sky. Do I look good? Gu Lingqing glanced at her and passed the fish soup to her. Yes. Baya didn't deny it. Compared to Su Jiran? Gu Lingqing raised his eyebrows and asked. It was undeniable that Su Jiran's face was exquisite. He was born with elegance, with an unruly aura. He had an aura that could make people go crazy. He was the type that could make thousands of girls scream when he appeared. There's no comparison. Then which do you like more? Gu Lingqing insisted on knowing the reason. Baya felt that this sentence was a trap. If she said that she liked him, it would be like a confession. However, she really didn't like Su Jiran anymore. I'm not a little girl anymore. I've long passed the age of dreaming. I don't care about a man's appearance, Baya said ambiguously. Then what do you care about? Gu Lingqing didn't plan to let her go. My heart. Baya simply said one word. This word was all-encompassing. She looked into Gu Lingqing's deep eyes. Their eyes looked at each other as if something was colliding in the air, causing layers of sparks. Gu Lingqing slowly moved closer to her. Baya's breathing became heavier and heavier. She had an urge that he wanted to kiss her. Well, I want to eat pork ribs, Baya said and broke the atmosphere. Yes. Gu Lingqing didn't move closer. He cleared his throat and picked up a piece of pork ribs for her. He only started eating after she was done. Baya lay on the bed and looked at him. She felt that he was quite good at taking care of people. If you look at me again, I won't be able to control myself, Gu Lingqing said in a hoarse voice. Baya blushed. She turned her face to the other side and looked at him with the back of her head. Gu Lingqing couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. If she wasn't injured, he might not be as easy to talk to as he was now. After eating, Gu Lingqing lay on his bed. He didn't turn off the lights. Baya was quiet. She didn't look at him, but she could feel his presence. Gradually, she closed her eyes. In the middle of the night, she needed to go to the toilet. She crept up to her feet. Gu Lingqing was alert. He turned on the lights and held her. He asked worriedly, "What's wrong?" Baya blushed. "I need to go to the toilet." Gu Lingqing couldn't help but carry her and walk to the toilet. "It's not that serious. It's just a scratch. I feel much better now," Baya said awkwardly. "If you don't want your wound to split open and lie in bed for a few more days, shut up," Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. After he carried her to the toilet, he put her down gently, turned around, walked out of the toilet and closed the door. Shishu could also make sounds. Baya could feel her face burning. After much difficulty, she opened the door and came out. Gu Lingqing picked her up again and put her back on the bed without giving her a chance to speak. She closed her eyes but didn't fall asleep. Gu Lingqing lay down again and turned off the lights. He didn't say anything. Baya looked at his blurry shadow in the dark. In the 3 years of marriage, Su Jiran had never been in the same room with her like this. She spent days and nights alone in the empty room. Guarding. She felt that she was no longer a woman, and she had also lost confidence. "Thank you, Gu Lingqing," Baya said sincerely. She was really grateful to him. Not only did he warm her in life, but also in her heart. What did she do to deserve his love? Gradually she fell asleep. When she woke up, Gu Lingqing was no longer there. Lu Shuang pushed the door open and saw Baya lying on the bed. He looked worried. "What happened to you?" How did you get hurt like this? Why are you here? Baya was surprised. Lu Shuang smiled ambiguously. Your man called me and told me that you're staying in this room, and asked me to take care of you. What happened to you? Is it serious? I had a small car accident. It's not serious. I've already had a checkup. It's just some abrasions. I'll be fine soon. Maybe I'll be discharged in the afternoon. Don't worry. Baya turned around to show that she was really fine. It's good that you're fine. Do you know what this is? Lu Shuang took out a recording pen from his bag. Chapter 44. Lu Shuang pressed the switch. Brother Jiran, are you coming? I want it so much. Little Vixen, I can't feed you enough. Where do you want it? Here? Brother Jiran is so mean. Don't do this. Baya lowered her eyes. This was the recording she had heard the other day. Hearing it again, her heart didn't waver. Lu Shuang turned off the recording. How is it? Is it fun? There's enough evidence of Su Jiran cheating. The court will definitely divorce you. I hope so. Lu Shuang, help me pass these to the lawyer. I want to end this quickly, Baya said resolutely. Don't worry, I'll get it done this afternoon. Outside the door, Su Jiran stood there coldly with a bouquet of roses in his hand, his bloodshot eyes glinting maliciously. Did she want a divorce that badly? She had even found the evidence. How could he let her get what she wanted? He wouldn't let her go until he was tired of her. Strangely, there was a strange sourness in his heart that made him feel uncomfortable. He threw the flowers into the bin and walked to the dark corner of the corridor to make a call. A moment later, Lu Shuang picked up the phone. After answering, she said to Baya helplessly, the chief of obstetrics and gynecology said there's an emergency surgery, and there's a lack of manpower now. She asked me to go back. I'll come back to accompany you later. I'm okay, go, I'm fine. Lu Shuang turned and left in a hurry. Baya picked up a Russian book that Gu Lingqing had placed on the bedside table, and flipped through it casually. The book was filled with notes. His handwriting was as smooth as flowing water, penetrating the back of the paper. Just like his looks, he was good-looking. There was a shadow in front of her. Baya had a bad feeling and looked up. She saw Su Jiran and was subconsciously afraid. She asked in a shrill voice, "What are you doing here?" Su Jiran's lips curled up devilishly. "You're my wife, of course I have to come." He snatched the book from her hands, his gaze sharp. "Give it back to me." Baya quickly tried to snatch it back. He was too tall, she couldn't reach him at all. Instead, she almost tore her wound open. "Su Jiran, this doesn't belong to me. I want to return it," said Baya sternly. He smiled, but his eyes were cold. "I know. You must be Gu Lingqing." He strode to the window, opened it, and threw the book out of the window. "What are you doing?" Baya ran to the window barefoot. When she saw the book fall into the pond, she was instantly enraged. "That's not yours. Aren't you being too overbearing?" "What about you? Do you belong to me?" Su Jiran asked. "Am I a thing in your eyes? So you can destroy them without mercy?" Baya was so angry that she had lost her mind. Su Jiran stared at her cold eyes, and there was an unprecedented panic, as if she was passing away bit by bit, completely leaving his life. He didn't want her to leave his life. Su Jiran's tone softened a little. "I take back what I said about making you wish you were dead. From today onwards, I will try to love you." From today onwards? It was already too late. Her mind was filled with his cruelty and bloodthirst. Baya glared at him and walked quickly to the door. Su Jiran furrowed his brows. She wouldn't pick up that man's things again, would she? However, he was furious, so he followed her out. Baya walked to the edge of the pond and picked up the book without hesitation. Su Jiran stared at her gloomily. She immediately hid the book behind her, as if she was protecting it with her life. If you have an affair with Gu Lingqing, his political future will be gone. Su Jiran warned. She wouldn't have an affair with Gu Lingqing. Soon, she would regain her freedom and start a formal relationship with him from a friend. She walked forward. Even if you get a divorce, his family won't accept a woman like you. Baya, wake up. Su Jiran raised his voice. At the mention of the word divorce, His heart was filled with panic. Baya looked down and ignored him. Su Jiran walked over quickly and grabbed her arm. You can only have the life you want if you start over with me. I can give you everything you want. You are no longer in the life I want. Baya's eyes were red, and she desperately shook his hand. She didn't plan for him in her life. He didn't understand why a woman's feelings could disappear so quickly. He tightened his grip on her hand and asked suspiciously, "Have you ever loved me? Whether I love you or not, does it make any difference to our future? We can't talk about this anymore with our current relationship," Baya said coldly. "In your eyes, what is our relationship? I would rather have never known you," Baya said resolutely. Now, she might only have hatred left for him. "Then I should leave a mark on your body so that you will never forget me," Su Jiran said coldly. Baya saw the danger in his eyes and struggled to get away. Instead, he held her tightly and put his hand into her loose hospital gown. His big palm was separated by her SpongeBob SquarePants, but it didn't seem to be enough. He followed the strap of her gown and wanted to unbutton the button on her back. Baya flew into a rage out of humiliation. She slapped him. Su Jiran turned his face and looked at her. His eyes were as red as blood and he had lost all rationality. He tore off her gown with brute force. The buttons fell off and he hugged her waist tightly. Baya felt the swollen thing in his abdomen pressing against her tightly. She was trembling in fear. "Su Jiran, let go of me. Don't make me hate you." "Hate? It's better than being a stranger. I don't mind if you hate me," Su Jiran said cruelly. Baya saw him zipping up, in broad daylight, in front of a crowd. She kicked at Su Jiran's underling. It hit. Su Jiran bent over in pain. The murderous look in his eyes was very strong, as if he wanted to tear Baya into pieces. Baya ran with all her might, and did not give herself a chance to breathe. She returned to the ward and locked the door. She felt that it was not safe, so she pushed the cabinet, the table, and the bed against the door. "Baya, open the door." Su Jiran was completely furious. Every time he hit the door, it was as if he was going to kick the door open. Bang bang bang. The sound fell on her heart one by one. She hid on the bed, her body trembling, and her hand clutching Gu Lingqing's book tightly. She wanted to ask him for help. However, it was his working hours now. She couldn't. She had to endure it. Endure it. "I'll count to 3. Open the door. 1. Su Jiran's voice was like that of a demon. If he rushed in, he would not just be strong, he would ruthlessly crush her soul. 2. The voice on the other side of the door was rough and full of anger. Baya was scared, really scared. She did not want to have anything to do with Su Jiran. Chapter 45. Gu Lingqing was on the way to the island. When he saw it was Baya, he immediately picked up. "Gu Lingqing," Baya shouted. She seemed to see the window that led to the light open in the darkness. She couldn't hold it in. She shed tears. Gu Lingqing could tell something was wrong with Baya. His heart tightened. He asked softly, "What's wrong? Can you come now?" Baya begged. She wanted to see him. She really wanted to see him. Gu Lingqing frowned. His gaze was deep and complicated. There was a show on Songlang Island today. He promised to watch it. Military orders must be obeyed. He had always been strict with himself. However, he was more concerned about Baya. "Lieutenant Colonel Shang, go to the hospital," Gu Lingqing ordered. "But Songlang has already left." Lieutenant Colonel Shang didn't understand. "I'll come back and watch the whole thing. Don't talk nonsense. Go to the hospital," Gu Lingqing said firmly. The car was on the way to the hospital. Baya put down her phone. Her heart was filled with hope. 3. Su Jiran shouted the last number. He picked up the fire extinguisher next to him and smashed it on the glass. The glass shattered. It was as if her life was shattered. He reached in and turned the doorknob. Baya got down from the bed and looked at Su Jiran cautiously. Su Jiran kicked away the cabinet that was blocking his way. His whole body was shrouded in an aura of death. Baya unconsciously retreated to the wall. There was no way out. "No," Baya said while crying. She looked like she was about to wither. She didn't feel a trace of fear when she faced the gangsters. Su Jiran was 100 times more powerful than those gangsters. Her tears softened his heart. You almost crippled me. How are you going to make it up to me? Su Jiran asked coldly. Su Jiran, there are many women who are willing to provide their bodies to you. Don't force me. Baya clenched his fists quietly. Come home with me. I'll count to 3. If you promise me now, I won't touch you. After 3, I'll take you right now. Su Jiran warned. Baya looked at the door. She really hoped that Gu Lingqing would rush over to save him. 1. Baya, I will never divorce you. You can only be my, Su Jiran's, wife for the rest of your life. Don't even think about liking someone else. 2. There was always a woman living in Gu Lingqing's heart, and this woman would come back soon. You're just a peanut to relieve his boredom. Baya was surprised. Her gaze shifted from the door to Su Jiran's face. She just realized that she didn't seem to understand Gu Lingqing at all. It's almost 3. Baya, you can't wait for me to have sex with you? Su Jiran said evilly. He placed his hand on the side of Baya's face, so that she couldn't retreat. Baya's phone rang. Her hope was ignited. Su Jiran saw the caller ID of Lu Shuang, and smiled coquettishly. Pick it up. Baya answered the phone defensively. Xiao Bai, I'm sorry. I locked the recording in the drawer, but the drawer was pried open. The information is gone, Lu Shuang said guiltily. Baya paused and shrugged her shoulders helplessly. No matter how stupid she was, she understood that it must be Su Jiran's doing. She couldn't get a divorce. Gu Lingqing could save her once, twice, thrice, or even 4 times. I'll go home with you, Baya said in despair. Su Jiran smiled coquettishly with satisfaction. He hugged her waist and moved closer to her face lovingly. Don't worry, I'll definitely make you lie on my bed willingly. I also believe that you'll fall in love with the feeling of me having sex with you. Baya didn't move. She seemed to have gone through the vicissitudes of life, empty and desperate. She sent a text to Gu Lingqing. I'm fine now. I can leave the hospital normally. Don't worry. You don't have to come over. Thank you. Sorry for bothering you. After sending the text, she wanted to cry. But she couldn't even cry. She only felt bitter in her heart. She didn't do anything wrong. Why did she have to provoke a demon like Su Jiran? She didn't understand. She didn't understand why God treated her like this. She wrote another text to Lu Shuang. I'm going home with Su Jiran now. Let's talk later. Lu Shuang called her immediately. Su Jiran snatched the phone. When he saw that it was Lu Shuang's, he returned it to Baya. Baya picked up the call. Xiao Bai, your brain must have been squeezed by a door. Now you're going home with Su Jiran. Don't be afraid. I'll find more evidence for you, Lu Shuang shouted. Su Jiran snatched the phone again. I've already transferred the 200,000 back to your account. You'd better not interfere with the matter between me and Baya. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer. Come on, I'm not afraid of you. You'd better not cheat. Otherwise, it'll be very easy to get evidence, Lu Shuang shouted. She had never lost a quarrel before. Su Jiran smiled maliciously and hung up. Gu Lingqing called him. Hatred flashed across Su Jiran's eyes. He picked up the call. Are you all right? Gu Lingqing's voice was filled with deep concern. Su Jiran pressed the play button and passed the phone to Baya. Baya didn't dare to pick up Gu Lingqing's call. She was afraid that Su Jiran would play dirty tricks. Su Jiran's eyes became fierce. He signaled her to pick up the call. Baya held the phone tightly and put it to her ear. What happened? Why didn't you say anything? I'll be there in an hour. Gu Lingqing's voice became softer. 1 hour. It was too late. I'm okay. I saw a mouse just now. I'm afraid of mice and snakes. The doctor said that I'm recovering well. I'll be discharged now. She found a reasonable explanation for her crying just now. But when she heard his voice, she wanted to cry again. It's good that you're okay. I've already applied for the Good Citizen Award that I told you about last time. Don't worry about your mother. I'll arrange it. Go to province and have fun during this period. Gu Lingqing said softly. There were ripples in Baya's heart. She just said it and he did it. Unfortunately, she didn't deserve such a man. Su Jiran hung up the phone. He's considerate. Are you touched? What do you think? Baya asked back. There was no hidden sadness in her eyes. Su Jiran's eyes narrowed. I refuse. I, Su Jiran's wife, don't need to accept gifts from other men. Doesn't your mother want to see me? I have time to arrange it. Let's go back. I'm a little tired. Baya said tiredly. The more Gu Lingqing thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. According to Baya's character, she might be afraid when she saw mice and snakes, but she would never cry. Something must have happened to her. Lieutenant Colonel Shang's phone rang. He answered the phone and said urgently, Chief, bad news. There's a major accident on the island. Song Lang caused an explosion as soon as it went up. There were a total of 13 team members. 5 of them escaped safely. 8 of them were injured to different degrees. The leader, number 108, suffered the most serious injuries. Both of his legs were blown off. Send them to the military hospital immediately. I'll go there now. Gu Lingqing ordered urgently. Chapter 46. Gu Lingqing stepped onto the island. The injured had already been evacuated. There were many holes on the island, and there was black residue from the medicine. The air was very turbid. Gu Lingqing's sharp eyes swept over the scene, and a trace of hatred and killing flashed across his cold eyes. He ordered coldly, there are not many people selling chain mines in a country. Within 24 hours, I want to find all the sellers and buyers. Yes, Lieutenant Colonel Shang replied fearfully. At Su Jiran's villa, Baya stood behind him, watching as he keyed in the password, 199203116. She used to think that he was using her birthday as the password, and she was touched. So, Xing Jinyan had the same birthday as her. Jiran, you're back. Xing Jinyan stood at the door, tilting her head and calling out sweetly. Baya looked at Xing Jinyan coldly. She was wearing an extremely short skirt, and if she bent down, her panties could be seen. Her fishnet stockings with holes accentuated her snow-white skin. Baya's lips twitched. Was the governor's daughter out for sale? Xing Jinyan saw Baya behind Su Jiran, and was stunned. She smiled sweetly. Sister, you're here too. Baya ignored her and walked in. There was a bottle of red wine, 2 goblets, a fruit salad, 2 steaks, and an elaborately prepared heart-shaped foie gras on the table. Baya really didn't know why Su Jiran brought her here. Should I not be here? Xing Jinyan asked Su Jiran softly. Su Jiran smiled devilishly as he sized up her voluptuous figure. He didn't answer her question. Your outfit is not bad, it's very pretty. Really? As long as you like it, it's fine. You must be hungry, let's eat. I specially made this today. Xing Jinyan held onto Su Jiran's arm. Baya walked towards the room. Baya, let's eat together. Have a taste of Xianyan's cooking. She's quite virtuous. Su Jiran stopped Baya. Baya stopped and looked at the air coldly. His eyes became more and more desolate. Even if she didn't mention it, she wouldn't feel the pain anymore. What kind of attitude did he have when she cooked for him last week? Other people's cooking was virtuous, but her cooking was disgusting. Then she'd better not discuss them. No, take your time. I'm not hungry. She walked away without looking back and pushed the door open. The wedding photo on the wall was replaced by Xing Jinyan's personal portrait. On the bedside table was a photo of Xing Jinyan and Su Jiran. What was even more ironic was that in her wedding room, there was a set of clothes that Xing Jinyan had changed out of, as well as a box of necessities that she had bought for the two of them to make love. There was no longer a place for her in this place. She is not a narcissistic person. She didn't think that Su Jiran refused to divorce her because he loved her. He brought her here just to humiliate her. Baya turned around and faced Su Jiran. I've finished admiring the world of the two of you. Can I leave now? Su Jiran pulled out a chair. Come here and sit down. I don't need to repeat myself. You can't afford to offend me. Su Jiran, what more do you want? Baya was already annoyed. What do I think I want? Su Jiran looked at her warningly. Don't disobey me again. Baya sat down in front of the dining table patiently. She wanted to see how disgusting they could be. Luckily, I prepared a few more steaks. Sister, wait for 3 minutes. Xing Jinyan smiled and went into the kitchen. She mixed a layer of salt and chili on the ready-made steaks. She didn't even put them on the pot to cook. Instead, she put them on a plate and brought them to Baya. Sister, eat more. If it's not enough, I can make more, she said sweetly and sat next to Sujiran, acting like the hostess of the house. Baya lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes covered the window of her soul. Sujiran scrutinized Baya's expression. He wanted to see her jealous and angry, even if it was tit for tat. But she didn't. He couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. Xing Jinyan looked at Sujiran, and her gaze fell on Baya. How could she allow the man she liked to look at other women? She reached out to Sujiran's knee and slowly moved it up. Her other hand stabbed a banana. This is my favorite. Sujiran indulged Xing Jinyan. Eat more if you like it. Xing Jinyan became even more charming. Sister, I forgot to bring vinegar. Can you help me check if there's any vinegar in the kitchen? Baya stood up expressionlessly and walked into the kitchen. Xing Jinyan immediately kissed Sujiran on the cheek. Jiran, I want it while you're not here. Sujiran never rejected passionate beauties. He kissed her, but his eyes were fixed on the kitchen. Baya saw what they were doing from the window. Her stomach hurt. She didn't know if it was because she was hungry or because she was disgusted. She poured some water and stood by the window, looking at the scenery outside. If they had more time, Xing Jinyan would help Sujiran solve his physiological problems, and she would be safer. Sujiran saw that she didn't turn around, and was a little annoyed. He let go of Xing Jinyan and shouted to the kitchen. It's okay if you can't find it. I don't like to be jealous anyway. Baya sighed. Impatience flashed in her eyes. She turned around and met Xing Jinyan's provocative gaze. Sister, come and eat. It won't taste good when it's cold. Baya sat down and cut a piece of beef. There was blood on it. She felt a surge of anger in her heart. She had never seen such a disgusting woman. She threw the spoon on the plate. Jiran, I'm scared. Xing Jinyan burrowed into Sujiran's arms. Sujiran saw that Baya finally had a reaction. His smile widened and he hugged Xing Jinyan's waist. What's wrong with you? Little Nian worked hard to make this. Look at you now. What do I look like? Baya asked. Her eyes were bloodshot. I'm a shrew, a jealous woman. Our life is hell. Let's end it. Sujiran's face turned cold and scary. You've taken the wrong medicine again. I told you not to disobey me. What do you mean by disobey? Her eyes were filled with moisture. What kind of woman do you want your wife to be? Baya looked away and wiped the tears that she didn't want to fall. When she loved him, he loved other women. When she didn't love him anymore, he still wanted to control her. This marriage was simply purgatory. You're crying? Sujiran was shocked. There was a strange glint in his eyes. In the past, when he was with other women, she was always arrogant and domineering. Other than not giving him face, she would never cry. He was a little annoyed and let go of Xing Jinyan's waist. Why are you crying? I'll give you my steak. It's already cut. Sujiran placed the steak in front of Baya. Baya looked at him. All these years, she had never softened up to him. Her pride wouldn't allow her to bow down to him, who had done something wrong. But she was so tired. She didn't want pride anymore. She wanted relief. Chapter 47. Seeing her tears, Sujiran's heart tightened, and he felt inexplicably uncomfortable. He didn't love Baya. From the first day he met her, he came with a motive. He wanted to get close to Xing Bachuan. What he didn't expect was that Xing Bachuan didn't want to acknowledge her as his daughter at all. He regretted it and didn't want to marry her, so he arranged the kidnapping. She had escaped from the kidnapping and had even been raped. He was furious. She insisted on marrying him. He had married her to torture her. But when she asked for a divorce, he understood how she felt. He didn't want it. He couldn't figure out why, so he was a little depressed. Let's separate for a month. If I'm sure that I don't want you anymore, I'll divorce you. Don't do anything wrong to me in this month. Baya cried tears of joy, as if she had seen the light of hope. She picked up her bag and left, almost as if she was escaping from him. Xing Jinyan smiled smugly. Baya finally knew what was good for her. Jiran. Xing Jinyan's hands wandered restlessly on Sujiran's legs. Sister is leaving, let's continue. Su Jiran wasn't interested at all. Xiao Nian, you can leave first. All right then, I'll leave first. If I didn't know you, I would suspect that you have fallen in love with Bai Ye, Xing Jinian said deliberately. Su Jiran's eyes sharpened, and he pressed her down on the table. If you talk nonsense again, I'll kill you. How could I fall in love with her? Xing Jinian clung onto Su Jiran and smiled seductively. Sure, I couldn't ask for more. Su Jiran stared at Xing Jinian coldly, as if he wanted to eat her up. Suddenly he sneered and said, Then I'll do as you wish. He just felt very frustrated and his heart was gloomy. He couldn't sort it out, so he decided not to think about it. Bai Ye contacted Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang asked for leave to open the door for her and asked worriedly, Xiaobai, what did that bastard Su Jiran do to you? He agreed to separate and we can get a divorce in a month, Bai Ye said with a smile. He finally made the right decision. You can live with me first, in case he takes things too hard and goes to you again. It's not big for me to live alone anyway. Lu Shuang opened the door. Thank you, Shuang. Lu put his arm around Bai Ye's shoulders. Jiao, he said. Bai Ye first hung Gu Lingqing's book on the balcony. Lu Shuang leaned against the doorframe and stirred her coffee. Once you're done with Su Jiran, you can start with him. I think he's a good guy. Yesu I should be, Bai Lu's Yehu said. Yehu Bai's love. Shouldn't a girl find someone better than her? It doesn't matter if he's worthy or not. The most important thing is to capture his heart first. Lu Shuang took a big sip of coffee. She had to work the night shift today. Bai Ye just smiled faintly and didn't answer Lu Shuang's words. Her cell phone rang. Seeing that it was Gu Lingqing, she hesitated for a moment and decided that it was better to make it clear. She didn't want to be in touch with love right now. She was already riddled with scars and needed time to recover. Bai Ye answered the call. Are you okay? I heard that you've taken 5 days off. I'll arrange for your mother to come out now. I'll have someone send you the plane tickets to province later. Someone will receive you when you arrive there. Gu Lingqing said softly. Hearing his voice and feeling his concern, her heart was sour and astringent, and some reluctance flowed in her eyes. However, the better some people were, the more she noticed the distance between them. The less he owed, the better. No, I don't want to go out. My mother is seriously ill now, and it's not suitable for her to go out. I want to invite you to dinner tonight. Are you free? Bai Ye lowered her eyes and said, Well, sure. I'll pick you up. Meet me at the entrance of Sparta Coffee Shop in Watermoon International in an hour. I'll hang up first. Bai Ye hung up the phone in a hurry. Lu Shuang smiled ambiguously and said, That soldier, he's a promising young man. Not bad. Just sleep with him today. I'm going to make it clear to him. Bai Ye said faintly. Make what clear? Don't refuse him. Lu Shuang was anxious. I'm divorced. I was raped 3 years ago. My mother is mentally ill. Do you think his family will accept me? Bai Ye asked back. As long as you have true love, why are you feeling inferior? How many women are more beautiful than you? You've been tricked by Su Jiran. Lu Shuang didn't want her to give up. Su Jiran said that we'll be separated for a month. It's fine. I'll be free after a month. I don't want to stimulate Su Jiran's possessiveness. I just want to live a quiet life. Gu Lingqing is a man I can't mess with. Bai Ye had thought it through very clearly. Forget it. You haven't divorced yet. I won't encourage you. But Xiaobai, you should think more about yourself. Don't always think about others. You're the one who suffers losses. Lu Shuang felt sorry for her. At least I have a clear conscience. Bai Ye entered the room and took her bank card. She went to the bank first and withdrew all the money. When she arrived at the entrance of Sparta Coffee Shop, Gu Lingqing was already inside, sitting by the window. The afterglow of the setting sun fell on his handsome face. He seemed to have a lot on his mind. He lowered his eyes and stirred his coffee subconsciously. He didn't drink it. Instead, he looked up. When he saw her, he put down 100 yuan on the table. He stood up and walked towards her. Are you okay? Are you okay? The two of them said at the same time. Bai Ye smiled. Even if he wasn't okay, what could she do? It was fine as long as she wasn't a burden. There's a lot of food on the fourth floor. What do you want to eat? Baya asked. Anything is fine, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He passed her an ointment. I asked a friend to make this. Apply it on the scars. It won't leave a scar. Baya's eyes darkened. She didn't refuse and accepted the ointment. Soon, they arrived at the fourth floor. Baya walked into a high-end Western restaurant. Gu Lingqing sat opposite Baya. If you're worried about your mother's condition, I can ask the medical staff to accompany you. Chief, Baya greeted him. She couldn't bear his kindness anymore. The way she addressed him made his eyes dim. At first, I wanted to be friends with you. After all, with your status, I can't even fawn over you. But then I thought, what right do I have to be friends with you? Gu Lingqing's face turned cold. He narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? Baya lowered her head. Cruel words were cruel no matter when they were said. Wasn't it? I want to live a quiet and ordinary life. Chapter 48. Fall in love with her? What right did she have? Baya was about to explain when she saw a familiar face from the corner of her eyes. It seemed to be Su Jiran's friend, Zhang Zi. He was the one she had tied up at the last party. She didn't want him to see her, lest he went to Su Jiran's place to talk nonsense and cause more trouble. Baya didn't have much time to think, and hid under the table. Gu Lingqing. He frowned in annoyance and lifted the tablecloth. What are you doing? Someone I know is coming over and I don't want him to see me. Baya explained hurriedly. She saw Zhang Zi walking towards her and pulling the tablecloth. Gu Lingqing's heart was filled with an inexplicable anger, which was slowly growing. Do I embarrass you that much? She wanted to pull the tablecloth down, but he didn't let her. Baya saw that she couldn't pull it down and Zhang Zi was walking over. It was too late to hide. She buried her face in Gu Lingqing's lap. She buried her face in the wrong place. She could clearly feel that something was wrong with him. Chief Gu was too sensitive. She was so upset that her ears turned red. But Zhang Zi walked to Gu Lingqing's side. Hello, Chief Gu. I didn't expect to see you here. My company has dealings with the Gu Corporation. I didn't see you at the last party. Zhang Zi greeted her warmly. Gu Lingqing's face was livid. He didn't even look at Zhang Zi and said coldly, "Get lost." Zhang Zi was also a man with good judgment. He saw a girl squatting on Chief Gu's lap and naturally imagined a scene. He knew that he had spoiled the mood and said apologetically, "Please enjoy your meal." Baya saw Zhang Zi leave but didn't go far. She sat not far away, holding her phone in her hand. She seemed to be texting something and looked at them from time to time. She suspected that he was gossiping with Su Jiran about this. If she came out at this time and Zhang Zi found out who she was, she would definitely be dead. Baya did not dare to come out. Gu Lingqing glanced at her, and a sharp light flashed across his deep eyes. He put down the tablecloth and called Lieutenant Colonel Shang. I am now at the Western restaurant on the fourth floor of Shuiyu International. Clear all the staff in the restaurant in 10 minutes. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing gratefully. He didn't look at her. His entire body exuded a murderous aura. And as time passed, his anger grew stronger and stronger. Lieutenant Colonel Shang brought a platoon of people and quickly cleared out the people in the restaurant. With the restaurant as a circle, they spread out 10 meters. Within 10 meters, no one could get close to the restaurant. He pulled Baya out and carried her to the table. Baya had a bad feeling about this. She had never seen him so angry before. He looked like a hungry beast. He lowered his head and fiercely kissed her lips. It was extremely ferocious, swallowing all of her breath, as if it was a punishment. He sucked very hard. Baya felt a sharp pain in his lips. She didn't want to have any ambiguous relationship with him, so she pushed his shoulders with all her might. The more she pushed him, the more irrational he became. He held her hand and pressed it on the table. Baya was forced to lie on the table and looked at his bloodshot eyes. Gu Lingqing's chest was heaving up and down violently. He stared at her as if she was his food. Baya, let's be together, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He lowered his head and bent her knees. He kissed his way up her knees. Baya was so scared that her legs were trembling. Gu Lingqing, we can't do this. I am a married woman. and we won't be together. If you continue to be with me, you will only ruin your future. Baya tried to wake him up. Gu Lingqing sneered. Do you think I care about your identity? Aren't you going to get divorced soon? Besides, who told you that I will ruin my future if I stay with you? Gu Lingqing questioned. It's not appropriate for us to be like this now. After all, we haven't divorced, have we? Baya struggled to get off the table. Gu Lingqing looked at her coldly, and the gloominess in his eyes became deeper and deeper. Since she was so unwilling, it was meaningless for him to force her. Gu Lingqing loosened his hand and said indifferently, You can go. Baya paused and stood up from the table. Gu Lingqing sat on the seat and looked at her coldly. Baya didn't dare to look at him. She lowered her head and said, I will remember the chief's help for me, and I will pray for you. Get out. Gu Lingqing said coldly, and his voice became more and more indifferent. What he wanted was not her blessing, but her. Baya took out the money from her bag and put it on the table. The money for your cosmetics and clothes. After that, she left with her head down. A sharp light flashed across Gu Lingqing's eyes. She really wanted to settle the score with him and make it clear that there was nothing between them. He pushed all the money on the table to the ground. In the next few days, Baya cancelled her annual leave. Su Jiaran seemed to have disappeared, and he didn't call her again. And no other women came to provoke him. The days passed peacefully. Occasionally, she would think of Gu Lingqing, that handsome, noble and arrogant man. The days with him were enough to be her precious memory, which warmed her for a long time. Friday came, but she didn't go to see her mother. Her mother said that she would bring Su Jiaran next time. Where would she find Su Jiaran? Baya called the nurse over there and told her to wash her hair, take a bath and cut her nails. She didn't dare to go there. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Lu Shuang stood at the door and felt sorry for her. You rejected such a good man. Don't you regret it at all? The life now is what I want. Baya stood up calmly and cleaned the table. I think you regret it, Lu Shuang said softly. Baya looked up at Lu Shuang. Because I know that I made the right decision. Let's go. I'll cook for you tonight. Baya took off her white dress, hung it on the clothes rack, and held Lu Shuang's arm. Lu Shuang glanced at Baya and felt that she was unhappy. She wanted to do something for Baya, or at least not miss out on Gu Lingqing. At night, Lu Shuang dragged Baya out to do her hair. She called Gu Lingqing secretly. Gu Lingqing answered. Hello, I'm Baya's friend Lu Shuang, Lu Shuang said in a low voice. And Gu Lingqing responded in a deep voice. Let me tell you, my friend is a quiet person. She likes to keep everything in her heart. Do you know why she rejected you? Lu Shuang said. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. Lu Shuang continued. She actually likes you. Do you remember that you have a Russian book with her? That book was thrown into the pond by that scumbag, Su Jiaran. She treasured it so much that she dried your book and went around looking for it. She bought a copy of it. Chapter 49. That doesn't prove that she likes me, does it? Or maybe she just thinks that she owes me a Russian book. Gu Lingqing said in a self-deprecating tone. Thinking of the scene where Baya returned him the money, his eyes were cold and desolate. She likes you, I promise. She often holds your Russian book in a daze. Oh yes, she rejected you because she and Su Jiaran agreed to live apart for a month. After a month, she can get a divorce. She is afraid that something might happen, so she left you first, Lu Shuang said in a hurry. Gu Lingqing frowned and remained silent. Seeing that Gu Lingqing didn't speak, Lu Shuang couldn't figure out what he was thinking, so he continued. Can you take the initiative? Xiao Bai is a very passive person. You'd better force yourself on her or something. Gu Lingqing. Would it be useful for him to force himself on her? He was afraid that Baya would hate him to death. Let me tell you, Baya has never slept with her husband. Women also have needs. If you make her feel good, she will definitely be loyal to you. Lu Shuang said with a guilty conscience. If Baya knew that she said that to Gu Lingqing, they might not be friends anymore. Really? Gu Lingqing obviously didn't believe it. Well, I have a blind date tomorrow. I will take Xiaobai there. It's a masquerade ball. Xiaobai has changed her hairstyle. I will take a picture and send the address to you. Will you come? Lu Shuang invited. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. Lu Shuang wasn't sure whether he would come or not. I will send you the address. After that, she hung up and sent the address to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing still didn't reply. Lu Shuang could only go back to the barber shop. She hired the director of the shampoo to cut Bai Ye's hair. Bai Ye's face was small, and her skin was fair. However, she didn't take care of her hair. She didn't do any hair care, let alone dye or perm her hair. The director cut her hair into a bob, softened it, and dyed it chestnut. Her face was even smaller and her skin was better. She had big eyes, a full face, and half of her forehead was exposed. Every part of her was perfect, not delicate but charming. Bai Ye was already pretty to begin with, but now she was stunning. Su Jiran really has no taste. He doesn't want such a beauty and is fooling around outside. Lu Shuang took a photo of Bai Ye and sent it to Gu Lingqing. Can we not talk about him? Bai Ye stood up. Fine, let's get rid of this scumbag. We have a better choice. Lu Shuang smiled slyly. She wondered if Chief Gu would go there tomorrow. Sigh. Early the next morning Lu Shuang was putting on makeup for Bai Ye excitedly. Bai Ye didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Girl, I'm the one going on the blind date with you, not the other way around. You should put on makeup for yourself, not me. Of course. Lu Shuang was putting on lipstick for Bai Ye. Of course I'll put on makeup for myself, but you're my female companion. If you're not pretty, it'll make me look lowly. Be a good girl and go to my place to pick out some clothes later. All right. Bai Ye didn't want to be a burden to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang chose a white bat muslin for her, with a black bra inside. Through the white muslin, one could vaguely see Bai Ye's breasts and slender waist that couldn't be covered. In the past, Bai Ye's clothes were too conservative, and they covered her excellent figure. She really hoped that Chief Gu could be charmed by Bai Ye, and then he. The more Lu Shuang thought about it, the more excited he became. She was really looking forward to today's blind date party. Bai Ye saw that Lu Shuang had prepared 3 sets of clothes for her, and he had also brought 3 sets for himself, along with a swimsuit. She asked in surprise, "Why did you bring so many clothes?" "That place is a bit far away. It's by the sea, and we've agreed to go there for 2 days. We'll be staying there tonight, so I can always bring more clothes and put them in the trunk." Lu Shuang explained. "Do you have to date for 2 days?" Lu Shuang shrugged. "My dad's request is probably for me to get the girl on the first try. He's getting old, so he's always anxious. I'll cooperate with him. Oh right, I forgot to tell you that the woman who recorded me last time has gone missing. She probably doesn't dare to offend Su Jiran. Forget it, I'm separated from Su Jiran now anyway, and we'll get divorced in a month. Then you should go for a blind date too, just in case." Lu Shuang instigated. "That's not good. Let's go." Bai Ye helped Lu Shuang carry the luggage. The place for the blind date was really far away. It took Lu Shuang 3 hours to arrive. However, the place was very beautiful. A private villa faced the sea. There was a beach outside the villa. There were rows of umbrellas, deck chairs, beautiful women wearing masks and bikinis, and unique straw huts on the beach. There were many luxury cars parked in the parking lot of the villa. Bai Ye got out of the car, and the sea breeze blew on her face and her hair fluttered. The air was fresh and refreshing, making people feel refreshed. Lu Shuang glanced at the beach. Because everyone was wearing masks, she really couldn't recognize which one was Gu Lingqing. She wondered if Gu Lingqing was here. She pulled Bai Ye to walk to the beach. 2 bodyguards stopped them and said expressionlessly, "Young Master Shen said that people who come here have to sign in first and arrange rooms." "Oh, got it. Got it." Lu Shuang followed the bodyguards to the villa to sign in first. Before entering the villa, they went into a small room, where there were 6 tall bodyguards. Lu Shuang signed his name. The bodyguards checked the name list, and made sure that Lu Shuang was there. Then they gave him the room card and the chess card and let him in. Lu Shuang was a little worried. If it was a real name system, could Gu Lingqing come in? "Let's go to the room and have a look." Lu Shuang sighed and said. The bodyguards opened the door. The curtains inside were drawn, and it was a little dark. The living room was carefully decorated, like a bar. There was a bar, neon lights, rotating lights, flashing lights, a high platform, a stereo, wine, music, women, handsome men, and so on. Baiya and Lu Shuang put down their luggage and came to the living room. They chose a corner. Baiya looked at the high platform. A woman wearing a mask was singing, and there was a number on her body. It was number 05. Her voice was sweet, and there were a lot of people listening to her. Why are there so many people on this blind date? Are you sure you're not in the wrong place? I feel like it's a talent show. Baiya was suspicious. Lu Shuang shrugged. Who knows? Dad asked me to come. I guess all the unmarried people in the circle are here. Let's have a look and broaden our horizons. Anyway, we won't lose anything. Okay. Baiya answered casually. The bodyguards pushed the door open. A man wearing a wolf mask came in. He was wearing an Italian hand-cut black suit, which outlined his tall and straight figure. He had broad shoulders and a narrow waist which made him look very imposing. Chapter 50. After number 5 finished singing, a new girl went up to sing. Do you want to sing? Baiya asked Lu Shuang. Let's see what's going on first, Lu Shuang said rationally. He listened to the song while eating sunflower seeds. Her figure is not good enough. She hasn't fully developed yet. Who is she? Number 10, who was sitting in front of Lu Shuang, asked the man next to him. I'm not sure. They can bring anyone they want. I don't know some of them. I've never seen them before, Shinian said lazily. She turned around and looked at Lu Shuang, curling her lips. Lu Shuang glanced at Shinian. What are you laughing at? Why do I feel that this person's voice is so familiar? Why isn't there anyone with a good figure? How can someone like this come? It's an insult to my eyes, Number 10 said in disdain. Lu Shuang felt that it was meaningless. Xiaobai, let's go to the beach. Lu Shuang pulled Baiya away. She walked too fast and didn't notice the chef coming over with the dishes. She almost bumped into Baiya. The man in the wolf mask was quick enough to pull Baiya's arm. Lu Shuang didn't know what was going on. He turned around and saw Baiya bumping into the arms of the man in the wolf mask. Watch where you are going. Why are you so reckless? The man in the wolf mask said in a low voice. His tone was strong, domineering, sharp, and cold. It sounded like Gu Lingqing. Baiya's back stiffened. She looked at him in surprise. Her heart was beating very fast. She was probably crazy. Her heart palpitated when she heard the voice that sounded like Gu Lingqing's. Why would Gu Lingqing attend this kind of blind date? Xiaobai, are you okay? Lu Shuang pulled Baiya over. Baiya shook her head. I'm fine. Lu Shuang glanced at the man in the wolf mask. My friend is Gu Lingqing's woman. Don't even think about her. Baiya's face turned red. Fortunately, it was hidden behind the mask. When did she become Gu Lingqing's woman? Because it was too embarrassing, she quickly walked out of the villa. The beach was filled with cheers. A new limited edition Maserati was parked in the middle of the roses. The roses were arranged in the shape of a heart. 2 red ribbons were tied to the rearview mirror, fluttering in the sea breeze. It was very romantic. Lu Shuang dragged Baiya over to watch the fun. Su Jieran got out of the car with a devilish smile on his face. He held a heart-shaped balloon in his hand, and a Maserati's car key dangling below it as he walked toward Xing Jinyan in the crowd. Wow, this man is so handsome. The crowd was in an uproar. The girls looked at Xing Jinyan enviously. I went to America to buy a car for you. You're so naughty. I heard that you came for a blind date as soon as I came back. Are you trying to piss me off? Su Jieran said, but his tone was doting. Xing Jinyan took the balloon from Su Jieran shyly. It was a custom-made Maserati. It had to be worth at least 3 million. I'm here to accompany my friend, Xing Jinyan explained. Su Jieran lifted her chin. He didn't care about the crowd. He lowered his head and kissed Xing Jinyan's lips. Cheers rang out from the surroundings. Lu Shuang was so angry that he gritted his teeth. What does Su Jieran mean? He's someone else's husband, but he's trying to please another woman. This beast is too playful. He's willing to spend a few million. How come I've never seen him be so generous to you? Baiya smiled. She was calmer than he had imagined. Seeing how sweet they were, she should be able to get a divorce soon. Lu Shuang walked to the side and called Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing answered the call. Chief, are you here? Baiyu is being bullied. Lu Shuang said pitifully. I saw it. Don't worry, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. He saw it. Could it be that he was here? Lu Shuang looked around excitedly. She saw that the man in the wolf mask was also on the phone. She ran towards him and stood in front of him. Chief Gu, Lu Shuang said carefully. Yes, Gu Lingqing answered in a deep voice. Great, you're really here. I'll bring Baiyu back to our room. We live in room 3022. You can have a good chat with her. Baiyu likes you. Hee, I'm leaving now, Lu Shuang said happily. She ran away and pulled Baiyu back to their room. What's wrong, Shuang Niu? Baiyu didn't understand why she was so excited. What are you doing here? You're insulting our eyes. Let's go back to our room. I have a gift for you. Lu Shuang pulled Baiyu back to their room. What is it? Baiyu was getting more and more curious. Take a shower first. You'll know after the shower. Lu Shuang pushed Baiyu into the bathroom and turned on the tap for Baiyu. What gift must I take a shower? Baiyu didn't understand. You're so long-winded. Do you think I'll harm you? Lu Shuang patted his chest. Baiyu took off her clothes. Lu Shuang carried her clothes and left. Why did you take my clothes? I'll bring them in later. Lu Shuang didn't even turn his head. Baiyu felt it was strange. After she took a shower, she didn't see Lu Shuang bring her clothes in. Shuang Niu, Baiyu shouted. No one answered her. Baiyu was confused. She walked out of the bathroom with a towel around her. She saw the man in the wolf mask sitting on the sofa. She was shocked. Who are you? Why are you in my room? Before Gu Lingqing could say anything, Lu Shuang opened the door and popped his head out. He said with a smile, He's the man I found. He's my gift to you. Little Bai, Su Jiran has found another woman. You should find a man too. Otherwise you'll lose out. Baiyu. You little girl, what are you talking about? Baiyu chased after Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang closed the door and went in with a mop. Baiyu tried to open the door, but it didn't open. She felt as if she was killed by her friend. Shuang Niu, open the door. Open the door. Baiyu knocked on the door. Lu Shuang ignored her. Baiyu was speechless. She turned around and looked at the man in the wolf mask. The man in the wolf mask was calm. He looked at her deeply and didn't do anything else. My friend is just playing a prank. You don't have to worry about it. Baiyu said apologetically. Gu Lingqing stood up and walked towards her. Baiyu stepped back subconsciously. Her back touched the cold door. Gu Lingqing reached out and placed his hand on the side of her head. I don't believe that you can't guess who I am. Baiyu's heart skipped a beat. Her hands were trembling violently. She moved closer to Gu Lingqing's mask and lifted it. It really was. Gu Lingqing. Why are you here? Baiyu asked in surprise. What do you think? Gu Lingqing asked in return. He looked at her with a burning gaze. Her face was clearly reflected in his deep eyes. Baiyu thought about it and felt that Lu Shuang's behavior was abnormal. Did Shuang Niu ask you to come? Gu Lingqing lifted her chin. His breath fell on her face. Baiyu's heart was beating so fast that it seemed like it was going to jump out of her throat. Chapter 51. He slowly moved closer to her lips. Baiyu was flustered. She pushed his hand away and walked out from his arms. She felt very uncomfortable. She covered the towel tied around her chest. Her mind seemed to be in a knot, and she didn't know what to say. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything either. He looked at her uneasy back view. I want to change my clothes, you. Baiyu turned around. He was already standing behind her. She was shocked. She took a step back and sat on the bed. Gu Lingqing moved closer to her. Baiyu pushed against his chest with both hands. Her palms could feel the frequency of his heartbeat, and her fingertips were trembling. What? It's not like I haven't seen it before. Do you want me to help you put it on? He asked. His tone was ambiguous, and his gaze was sharp. The pressure was too strong. I didn't mean that, Baiyu said anxiously. Her face was red. You didn't mean that? Gu Lingqing asked. It's my friend's prank. Even if my husband is looking for women outside, I don't want to find a man to take revenge on him. Before Baya could finish, Gu Lingqing kissed her. The kiss was very strong and domineering. Baya moved back. He pressed her down on the bed and pressed her shoulders. Baya couldn't move. She could only purse her lips. Gu Lingqing frowned. He didn't like her resistance. His large palm moved up her legs. Baya realized what he was going to do. She pushed his hand away. He held her hand with one hand and pressed it down on top of her head. Don't. Like this. Before Baya could say the last two words, he had already entered her mouth and wrapped his tongue around hers. She wanted to push him out. She stared at the tip of his tongue. He sucked her into his mouth. Baya wanted to pull out. She focused on the top and didn't have time to be distracted, until a stronger electric current came from her spinal cord and rushed to her brain, occupying her thoughts. Baya found it hard to speak. Aside from that strange man 3 years ago, he was the first person who had touched her. The feeling was unfamiliar, but it had an indescribable surge of emotions. After all, she was already 24 years old, not 14. She was very sensitive. She tried to push his hand away, but she could not move. She wanted to ask him to hold on, but he blocked her lips. Baya wanted to hide, but he couldn't. Instead, he became more and more aroused. Is this our room? Who's playing a prank, sticking a mop on the door? Xing Jinyan's sweet voice drifted in. Baya widened his eyes. How could it be Xing Jinyan's voice? This room belonged to her and Lu Shuang. When did it become Xing Jinyan's? If they saw her and Gu Lingqing like this, she didn't even dare to think about it. Baya struggled and heard the sound of the mop being pulled out. Beep, beep, beep. The door opened. Su Jiran pushed the door open and came in. Baya hid under the bed, not daring to move or breathe. Xing Jinyan kissed Su Jiran eagerly. The two of them threw themselves on the bed. Baya felt the bed shake. Xing Jinyan and Su Jiran's clothes were thrown on the floor, including their underwear. Xing Jinyan was good at moaning. That voice, Baya's face was red. What was going on? She hid under the bed, watching her husband and her sister dial one. If she was alone, she would have treated it as a free performance. The problem was Gu Lingqing was still there. She felt extremely embarrassed. Jiran, when are you divorcing my sister? Xing Jinyan asked, panting. Su Jiran slapped Xing Jinyan's butt and changed the topic. He said in a hoarse voice, Fox, change positions. If you and my sister didn't divorce, what are we doing now? Xing Jinyan said coquettishly. Tell me, what are we doing now? Are you unhappy? Baya felt the bed shake even more and bit her fingers awkwardly. Unjustifiable. Xing Jinyan was a little unwilling. Baya is my wife and we haven't slept together yet. The more you are not my wife, the more impulsive you are, don't you think? Su Jiran said evilly. Baya felt embarrassed and didn't dare to look at Gu Lingqing. He clamped down on her chin so that she was facing him. Baya met his eyes, which were full of lust, and her heart skipped a beat. Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. He had heard from Lu Shuang that she and Su Jiran hadn't slept together. However, after hearing Su Jiran's confirmation, he was even more moved. Baya felt his breath enter her organs. She was trembling, but she couldn't make a sound or push him away. Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan's voices became louder and louder. It was so hot under the bed that she couldn't think. Gu Lingqing lifted her right leg and placed it on his waist. His large palm slid up her thighs. Baya felt a white light flash past her eyes. An unprecedented feeling flowed through his senses, surging violently. Luckily, he covered her lips. Otherwise, she would have screamed. Although she had never experienced it, she knew what it was like. Baya was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. She didn't expect that she would be like this with Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing seemed to have noticed her reaction. He didn't go any further. He just held her waist, pulled her into his arms, and kissed her earlobe. Baya was soft. She hadn't recovered yet, so she let Gu Lingqing kiss her. Hey, where's the mop? Lu Shuang's voice came in. Baya was shocked and pushed Gu Lingqing away. Push me away if you're comfortable, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Lu Shuang is here, Baya explained. After saying that, she wanted to bite her tongue off. The other meaning of her words was that if Lu Shuang hadn't come, she would have made him comfortable. She was definitely crazy. She was crazy. Baya buried her face in his arms and pretended to be dead. Beep beep beep. Lu Shuang opened the door and looked at Su Jieran and Xing Jinyan on the bed in shock. She went out and looked at the room number again. There was no mistake. How did Baya and Gu Lingqing become Su Jieran and Xing Jinyan? She must have opened her eyes in the wrong way. Get out! Su Jieran hadn't gotten over it yet. He was very annoyed and threw a pillow at Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang was hot-tempered. He opened the pillow and said, "You should be the ones going out. This is my room." Xing Jinyan hugged the quilt and said, "Who said it's yours? It's obviously ours, okay? Hurry up and get out." Lu Shuang was furious when he saw Xing Jinyan. "You shameless B***tch. How can you ask me to get out? The man you're using is not yours yet." "Who are you calling shameless?" Xing Jinyan said angrily. "Jieran and Baya are getting a divorce. I'm Jieran's future wife." Chapter 52. Su Jieran strode over, grabbed Lu Shuang's phone, and glared at Lu Shuang with a livid face. "Xiaonian, get dressed, let's leave." "Why?" Xing Jinyan was unwilling to give up. "Just do it," Su Jieran said in a low voice, and a malicious look flashed across his eyes as he looked at Lu Shuang, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Lu Shuang felt a chill invading her. She patted her head. She was so stupid. She should have taken the photos secretly. But where did Xiao Bai and the chief go? Su Jieran picked up the clothes on the ground. Baya was trembling in fear, afraid that Su Jieran would see her when he picked up the clothes on the ground. Luckily, he didn't see her and walked out of the door. "Give me back my phone," Lu Shuang said angrily. Su Jieran was sure that she didn't take any photos, so he threw the phone to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang called Baya. Baya's phone rang. Lu Shuang saw that Baya's phone was on the coffee table, but there was no one in the room. She hung up the phone, closed the door, and walked out. She remembered that she could call Gu Lingqing. Lu Shuang called Gu Lingqing's phone. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. If Lu Shuang came in at this time, Baya had the urge to dig a hole in the ground. She got up from the ground and ran into the washroom. Gu Lingqing answered the phone. "Chief, have you seen Xiao Bai?" Lu Shuang asked with concern. "Yes," Gu Lingqing answered. "Where is she? I don't see her in the room." Lu Shuang was confused. "She's with me. We'll leave first," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "Leave? Okay. Hurry up and do it with her. Su Jieran, that B***tch, has already painted Xiao Bai green." Lu Shuang instigated. "And?" Gu Lingqing responded in a deep voice. That voice was like a bell, deep, hoarse, and full of masculine charm. Lu Shuang's heart was beating fast. "Then I won't bother you anymore. Good luck, good luck." She hung up the phone excitedly. "Lu Shuang, long time no see." A man wearing a fox mask stood in front of her. Lu Shuang frowned. He could tell that the voice belonged to the person who had been sitting next to number 10. "Who are you?" Lu Shuang asked suspiciously. Shinian took off his mask. A roguish smile appeared on his beautiful face. 3 parts good, 3 parts evil, 3 parts bad, and 1 part unfathomable. Lu Shuang recognized him. Shinian. Her nightmare when she was young. The son of the current president, the crown prince. His father had been promoted and moved out of their neighborhood. She thought that she would never see him again. She was happy for a few days because of that. It was not a good thing to see him again. "Sorry, you got the wrong person." Lu Shuang walked past him. Shinian smiled. "Don't worry, as long as I didn't get the wrong person." Lu Shuang pretended not to hear it. He had a bad feeling and ran away immediately. Baya ran into the washroom. She remembered that her clothes were still outside. She secretly opened the door a little and saw a tall figure. The door was opened by Gu Lingqing. Baya was speechless. He stood straight in front of her. Baya lowered her head and did not dare to look at him. "Aren't you childish?" Gu Lingqing asked. "My clothes are still outside," Baya said softly. She thought about what they did under the bed just now and felt very weak. "Come out and get it." Gu Lingqing said in a commanding tone. Baya took out her luggage and took her clothes out. She rushed into the bathroom with them. Gu Lingqing picked up the underwear she dropped on the floor and knocked on the door. Baya was looking for the underwear. She remembered that she took it. She opened the door. Gu Lingqing passed the underwear to her. Her face was hot as if it was going to burn. She took his innie pants and locked the door. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her face was very red. Baya splashed water on her face and took a deep breath. What was she and Gu Lingqing now? More than friends but not lovers? She calmed her racing heart, got dressed and went out. Gu Lingqing put away the cigarette, got up and went into the bathroom. He turned on the tap and washed his hands. She inadvertently glanced at his hand. His hands were very beautiful. The bureau chief's hands were wide, slender, and looked very strong. She remembered that he didn't go in. Why did she? What are you thinking about? Let's go, Gu Lingqing said. Baya came back to her senses. Where are we going? Su Jiran and Xing Jingyan are here. Do you think it's suitable for you to stay? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. It seems so. I'll ask Shuangniu to go with me. Baya walked towards the door. Doesn't she want to go on a blind date? Gu Lingqing held her arm. Then I'll say hi to her. Gu Lingqing picked up her mask from the coffee table and put it on her. I've told her. Do me a favor. Gu Lingqing's thoughts changed too quickly. She didn't react in time. There was an accident during Blue Wolf's maneuver. Number 108's legs were blown off. I'm going to visit him today. His wife has just gotten pregnant. I need an obstetrician and gynecologist. Please help me, Gu Lingqing said as he put on his mask. He said it as if it was the truth. She owed him a lot. If he needed help, she wouldn't reject him. Baya followed behind Gu Lingqing and got into his car. He drove away. She took off her mask and looked out of the window. The sea was still as calm as ever. Facing the sea, it was as if she was tiny, let alone her troubles. Fortunately, she would end things with Su Jiran soon. Did it feel good just now? Gu Lingqing asked, her face strangely red. Baya? She tugged on her seatbelt. It was obviously against her will to say that it was uncomfortable. They had already done it. How could it be uncomfortable? She said that it was comfortable, but it seemed to be an invitation. Well, will you be criticized for the accident? Baya changed the topic. I'll keep this matter under wraps for now. I'll catch the mastermind within a week, Gu Lingqing replied. Okay, Baya replied and breathed a sigh of relief. Gu Lingqing looked at her, held her hand, and held it in his palm. You're my woman now. You know what to do when you see Su Jiran in the future, right? When did she become his woman? Baya pulled her hand out, lowered her head, and said softly, I haven't divorced him yet. Your relationship with Su Jiran only exists in name. I'll help you get a divorce after I deal with the mastermind. 1 month is too long, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baya didn't want to start a new relationship. She wanted some time to adjust herself. I just want to work well for now, Baya said her thoughts. Chapter 53. Baya was also a little annoyed. He was too overbearing and didn't even ask for her permission. When did I belong to you? We didn't do that. She was embarrassed to say it out loud and her voice became softer. His soft and gentle voice sounded like he was dissatisfied with his desire in some people's ears. Gu Lingqing pulled over and stopped the car. You want that, right? He frowned and asked helplessly. He carried her up from the seat and sat her on his lap. Baya was completely stunned. He held her hand and pressed it under his body. Baya was so scared that she wanted to pull her hand out. He held her hand even tighter. You're a little anxious. We're on the road now. Can't we wait until we reach our destination? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. No, I didn't mean that. I don't want that. I don't want it. No, I don't want it. Baya was speechless. No, I didn't mean it that way. I don't want it. I don't want it. Gu Lingqing saw that she was so nervous that she was incoherent. He found it quite cute and smiled. It was rare for Baya to see him smile. She was stunned. He pressed the back of her head and brought it in front of his face. He kissed her lips. Her lips were very soft, like cotton candy. Baya was so scared that she twisted her waist and wanted to leave. Gu Lingqing pressed her back and pressed it in front of him. Baya twisted and touched him. She moaned and didn't dare to move. He let go of her lips and kissed her deeply along the beautiful line of her neck. She didn't know if the temperature was contagious. Baya also felt hot. Her mind recalled the feeling under the bed and she couldn't think. Gu Lingqing's breathing became heavier. He unbuttoned her clothes with his fingers, revealing the purple edges. He wanted to eat her up. He wanted to eat her up right now. His kisses were densely packed. Baya was in a daze and she gave up on herself. Why don't we do it? It's not a loss anyway. But she wasn't divorced yet. What was the difference between him and Sujiran? Gu Lingqing, can you wait until after my divorce? Baya said anxiously. Gu Lingqing paused. A pair of dark and wise eyes locked onto her. There seemed to be a monster hibernating in his eyes, flickering. Baya didn't dare to look at him. He lowered his head and his eyes flickered. He had no choice but to compromise. He kissed her deeply and breathed in her scent. It was as if time had stopped at this moment. A minute passed before he let go of her. Be good and sit properly. Don't tease me anymore, okay? Baya. She didn't pick on him. But no matter what he said now, it would only make things worse. She looked out of the window and stopped talking. Gu Lingqing drove for 4 hours and arrived at the countryside of another city. Baya hadn't had lunch yet, and his stomach was growling with hunger. He glanced at her and stopped in front of a farmer's restaurant. Eat something first. Gu Lingqing opened the door to the front passenger seat. Baya got out of the car. Before she could get off the bed, he carried her down. Be quick. Baya. She watched him walk into the restaurant. She didn't dare to drag him down and ran to catch up. Gu Lingqing sat down by the window. Baya sat opposite him. What do you want to eat? Order it yourself. Gu Lingqing passed the menu to her. She remembered that he didn't eat lobster. The waiter came up. Pickled fish with pickled vegetables, eggs with tomatoes, sautéed vermicelli with spicy vermicelli, and winter melon and pork rib soup. President Gu. What else do you want to eat? Baya looked at Gu Lingqing and asked. He stared at her, his gaze too sharp. He ordered, change the way you address me. Chief. Chief. Baya was careful. She saw that Gu Lingqing's expression was a little hidden, as if a storm was coming. She was really afraid of him. Gu Lingqing. Baya corrected herself. Remove Gu. Oh. Baya took a pair of disposable chopsticks and opened it. What oh? If you call me the wrong way next time, I won't be as easy to talk to as I am now. Gu Lingqing took the menu and passed it to the waiter. Just follow her order. Baya bit the chopsticks and waited for the food. She could feel Gu Lingqing's gaze on her face. She was very nervous. Didn't she make it clear to Gu Lingqing before? Why now? She stole a glance at Gu Lingqing, met his gaze, then looked away and looked out of the window. It was already past 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun was setting, dyeing the clouds in the west red. It was very beautiful. The first dish the waiter served was pickled fish with pickled vegetables and 2 bowls of rice. Baya had her head down as she ate. Gu Lingqing removed the fish bones and placed them on her bowl. Thank you, Baya said. Gu Lingqing glanced at her. He didn't say anything and continued to help her remove the bones. Baya couldn't help but look at Gu Lingqing's hand. She felt that his skill was quite mature. He should have had a girlfriend before. This thought made her feel slightly uncomfortable. I learned it from the disc you gave me, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Huh? Baya couldn't react for a moment. You're staring at my hand. Aren't you wondering how I learned it? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya was completely stunned. This guy, he must know how to read minds. I didn't give that disc to you, Baya mumbled softly. Then who are you going to give it to? Watch it yourself? Gu Lingqing asked, sizing her up. Baya felt that the more she said, the more mistakes she made. It's Lu Shuang's. She's playing a prank. Don't always push the responsibility to others. It takes 2 hands to clap. If you want to watch it, just watch it. You're not a kid anymore. It's normal to watch it. But it's weird for a girl like you to watch it at home. I can arrange it another day. Gu Lingqing said seriously. She felt that what he said was actually a very serious problem. What are you going to do? What do you think I should do? Gu Lingqing asked her in return. You're going to arrange for me to watch it at home? Baiya guessed carefully. At my house. It's quieter there. No one will disturb you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baiya. She felt that he was going to watch it with her and then do that kind of thing. Baiya was thin-skinned. She blushed again. You can tell me in advance what kind of position you like, Gu Lingqing reminded her. Baiya couldn't even lift her head. Stop talking. Stop talking, she said shyly. Gu Lingqing glanced at her and replied. After dinner it was already 18 o'clock. The sky was getting dark. Baiya thought of another serious problem. Are we going back tonight? No, we'll find a hotel nearby to stay. We'll go back tomorrow after visiting number 108. Oh. If they were staying in a hotel and not in the same room, she felt a little more at ease. However, she didn't think that there would be a hotel in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. Chapter 54. They each asked for a room. The soundproofing in this kind of hotel was very poor. Baiya listened to the babbling sounds coming from the room next door. She tossed and turned, unable to sleep. The couple next door seemed to not need to sleep. They finally calmed down. What would happen next? They were still facing the wall on her side. Dong dong dong. The girl was screaming miserably. Baiya was about to collapse from the noise. She went out for a walk and prepared to come back after they were done. The air in the countryside was much better than in the city. Although it was hot and there were many mosquitoes, the moon was very bright. However, the moon was very bright, and there were fireflies dancing in the grass. She hadn't seen fireflies in a long time. She still remembered that when she was young, she used a bottle to catch many fireflies and put them in her mosquito net. However, fireflies rarely glowed in the mosquito net. They were only happy in the grass. Baiya felt that something was thrown on her back. She turned around and saw a girl lying on the window of the room next to hers. The girl didn't seem to be wearing clothes. She tapped the ground and quickly closed the curtains. Baiya looked at the ground. It was a pink dress. The dress said, "Save me" in black ink. Baiya's heart tightened. Could it be that the girl next door was being held captive? Without much time to think, Baiya rushed to Gu Lingqing's door and knocked on it anxiously. Gu Lingqing opened the door. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing, I suspect that the girl next door is being held captive. Look, this is her asking me for help, Baiya said worriedly. Gu Lingqing glanced at the contents of the dress. Don't worry, I have to confirm how many people are inside. Baiya found it hard to say it, but when she thought of the girl's safety, she couldn't care less. They have been doing that kind of thing, and it's already disturbing me. I can use this reason to knock on the door and see how many people are inside. I'll tell you then, Baiya said. It's too dangerous for you to knock on the door alone. Let's go together. Gu Lingqing held Baiya's hand and walked to the room next to Baiya's. Gu Lingqing knocked on the door. The door opened. A boy with dyed yellow hair blocked the door. What's the matter? It's very late now. You've disturbed our rest, Gu Lingqing said, looking into the room. There were 2 girls and 5 or 6 boys, and they were all quite young. Hee. Uncle, you're old, aren't you? You have such a beautiful girlfriend. Why don't we do it together? You can look at us with passion. The blonde-haired boy teased. Gu Lingqing's lips curled up. There was a hidden sharpness in Jima's eyes. Sure. Gu Lingqing entered the room. Baiya knew that he wanted to go in and save the 2 girls. Hearing him say that, she still blushed. She held Gu Lingqing's arm tightly. Sister, you want to challenge all of us alone. Why don't the 6 of us go together and let Uncle challenge 2 of us? How about that? We'll definitely be better than Uncle. The blonde-haired boy teased and reached out to hook Baiya's chin. Gu Lingqing quickly pulled Baiya behind him. Xiaoya, go back to the room and put on the pajamas I bought. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. When did he buy her pajamas? She roughly understood that he wanted to send her away. Can you do it alone? Baiya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing smiled. What do you think? Go ahead. Uncle, you're quite interesting, the blonde-haired boy said, staring straight at Baya. Baya didn't want to be Gu Lingqing's burden. She walked out of the door, returned to her room, and called 110. Gu Lingqing scanned the room. Beer and snacks were everywhere. There were even drug paraphernalia on the table. Your room is too messy. Why don't you go to my room? It's cleaner, Gu Lingqing said. She held the two girls' arms and pulled them out. The 6 guys followed behind them and gestured with their eyes. Gu Lingqing knocked on the door. Baya saw that it was Gu Lingqing and opened the door. Gu Lingqing pushed the 2 girls in, closed the door and reminded them, lock it. The 6 guys realized that they were tricked and went to hit Gu Lingqing together. Baya was worried about Gu Lingqing's safety. She looked out through the peephole. It was very messy outside. She couldn't see who was fighting who. Sister, can brother-in-law beat them alone? Blonde is trained. The girl who threw the clothes asked worriedly. Stay in the room. Don't come out. Baya looked around the room. The only thing that could hurt them was the ashtray. She went to get the ashtray. A knife was pressed against Baya's neck. The cold touch stimulated her skin. Baya looked at the girl who threw the clothes in surprise. What are you doing? Baya asked confusedly. I'm sorry, sister. We need some money. We need some. The girl who threw the clothes said. The other girl went through their wallets and took their phones. You threw the clothes on purpose to lure me to your room? Baya was suspicious. I thought you were alone. Blonde likes you. I didn't expect you to be with a guy. Blonde's skills are pretty good. I'll just enjoy it and spend some money. The girl who threw the clothes laughed. Put the knife away first, Baya said coldly. That won't do. Your guy is good at fighting. I still need you to get out of here. The girl who threw the clothes threatened. The other girl opened the door. Baya saw that Gu Lingqing had already beaten the 6 guys to the ground. Stop, the girl who threw the clothes said. She pulled Baya's arm and walked out. Gu Lingqing's eyes were sharp. He looked at the girl who threw the clothes coldly. Blonde, I've caught the beauty for you. Don't forget to give me 5 grams. The girl who threw the clothes said proudly. Blonde got up from the ground. No problem. He looked at Baya. I can't believe I met such a beauty in this stupid place. We're going to have a good time today. Baya frowned. While the girl who threw the clothes was distracted, he pulled her hand away and ran towards Gu Lingqing. Seeing that Baya was running away, the girl who threw the clothes raised her knife and stabbed at Baya. Gu Lingqing was alert. He pulled Baya behind him. The girl who threw the clothes suddenly changed her direction and stabbed at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing couldn't dodge. If he did, he would stab Baya. He stood stiffly and used his hand to block the attack. The knife stabbed into his arm. When the girl who threw the clothes was about to stab him again, Gu Lingqing grabbed her wrist and squeezed it. The girl who threw the clothes couldn't stand the pain. The knife fell to the ground. Baya immediately picked up the knife. Beep beep. The police sirens were heard outside. Blonde and the others ran towards the stairs. They were blocked by the police. Chapter 55. After Gu Lingqing and Baya made a statement, they went to the mayor's hospital. Baya was a doctor. She helped Gu Lingqing to reduce the inflammation, apply medicine, and tie the bandage. Gu Lingqing looked at her without blinking. She was very focused, and her eyes were on his arm. She frowned slightly, and there seemed to be tears flowing in her eyes. What are you thinking about? Gu Lingqing asked. It seems that nothing good happens when you meet me. The car accident last time, and now you're injured again, Baya said apologetically. Why do I feel that meeting you is a good thing? If it weren't for you, the mission to keep the hostages safe and sound wouldn't have succeeded. It was also because of you that I could use the car accident as an excuse to avoid some messy things. Gu Lingqing comforted her. What about this time? This time I called you over. If I came alone, I would have been fooled too. I didn't know that the 2 girls were pretending. Maybe I would have died long ago, and I wouldn't have suffered such a little injury. Gu Lingqing said and held her hand. Baya's heart trembled. The temperature of his palm was too high. She wanted to pull away, but he held her in his arms and restrained her. Let go of me. Baya turned her face away and didn't dare to look at her. I don't want to let go. Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked at her with a burning gaze. Bai Ye's heart was beating very fast. Her rationality was already shaking. Gu Lingqing was a good man. Even if this kind of man just stood under the sun, he could shine brighter than the sun. Many ladies from prestigious families wanted to marry him. What did she have to do to deserve him? From the moment they met again, she found that he was so strong that she couldn't resist him. His aura was almost about to drown her. He didn't want to be polite like in the beginning, and he didn't even ask if she was willing or not. She was really afraid that she would make an unforgivable mistake. Gu Lingqing, I'm not divorced. You know that, right? Bai Ye said straightforwardly. I don't care. It's just a piece of paper. I can make this piece of paper invalid right now. Gu Lingqing released her and picked up the phone. He dialed the number. Lieutenant Colonel Shang, I'm Gu Lingqing. Find the best lawyer in the city to help Bai Ye with the divorce case. Settle it within a week. Gu Lingqing ordered domineeringly. Bai Ye was speechless. He looked at her. What other concerns do you have? Why don't you just say it all at once? I'll settle it for you. Bai Ye, don't think of hiding like a porcupine. This time, I won't let you back down. We haven't known each other for long. It's not appropriate to be so impulsive. Bai Ye stood up. Gu Lingqing held Bai Ye's arm. His gaze sharpened. Because he pulled on the wound, it split open and blood stained the gauze. You've known Su Jiran for a long time. You've been married for 3 years. Are you suitable for him? Gu Lingqing said unhappily. I've been married to him for 3 years, and I still don't know who he is, let alone you. I'm not a woman who just wants to play around. I want a normal life, a husband who loves me, an adorable child, and a husband who doesn't need to be too powerful. He just needs to take care of the family. This is my thirst. Hope, Bai Ye said emotionally. Can I give you the life you want? At least I can use my abilities to create a blue sky for you. No matter what happens outside, as long as I'm not dead, I can protect you. Gu Lingqing was annoyed. At least wait until after my divorce. What is this now? I'm Mrs. Su, not Mrs. Gu. I can't get over this. Bai Ye said impulsively. Then it's a deal. After the divorce we'll get married. Gu Lingqing let go of her hand and said domineeringly. Bai Ye. She paused. That wasn't what she meant. She just didn't want him to force her. She was a little breathless. When he said this, Bai Ye knew that he said something wrong. Why do you have to be with me? I know myself, Bai Ye said softly. He didn't know why he had to be with her. However, 3 years ago, when he slept with her, he kept her in his heart. Knowing that she wasn't living a good life, he couldn't let her go. He wanted to give her a good life and make up for the mistake 3 years ago. Even if he had to sacrifice his entire life, he wanted to give her happiness with his body. Gu Lingqing glanced at his arm. Let's not talk about this anymore. Help me bandage it again. Bai Ye saw that he was bleeding again. Thinking about it, there was still a month before her divorce. There were still many variables that could happen. It was a little groundless for her to worry about the future now. Anyway, he wouldn't force her now. They could talk about the future in the future. Bai Ye untied the gauze on Gu Lingqing's arm and helped him wash it again. She applied some medicine and bandaged it. You have to take the anti-inflammatory medicine. If you don't have a fever tomorrow, you don't have to take it if you have a scar. Drink more water, Bai Ye instructed. Gu Lingqing smiled and stood up. What are you smiling about? Bai Ye looked at him, puzzled. I think it's good to listen to you nagging like this. Let's go, it's very late now. We still have to wake up early tomorrow morning. Okay, I'll drive. Bai Ye carried the medicine and walked in front. The roads in the countryside were very deserted. At this time, there were no cars or pedestrians. Bai Ye drove quietly. Gu Lingqing looked at her. What would have happened if she hadn't met him 3 years ago? Would Su Jiran treat her well? Bai Ye's phone rang. She saw that it was Lu Shuang's call and picked it up. What's wrong, Shuang Niao? Bai Ye asked, puzzled. Xiao Bai, I have something to tell you. Lu Shuang's voice was very low. I'm following Su Jiran and Xing Jinian. They're doing that kind of thing in the wilderness. Waha, I'll record it later. If Su Jiran doesn't get a divorce in a month, you'll have evidence to sue him. That shameless bastard. How could Xing Jingyan be so despicable? Be careful alone. It's very late now, Baiya said worriedly. What are you afraid of? Xinyan is here too. He's the crown prince. Who would dare to provoke him? It's fine, I'll talk to you later. They seem to be done for. Xing Jingyan is almost out of breath from all the shouting. I'll record it first, Lu Shuang said and hung up. Baiya gripped her phone tightly. This time, she should be able to divorce Su Jieran. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked. She didn't eat much during dinner due to her awkwardness. After all that, when Gu Lingqing asked, she realized that she was really hungry. At this time, all the restaurants are closed and the convenience stores are closed. I have instant noodles in my room. Let's make instant noodles when we get back, Baiya suggested. Okay, Gu Lingqing replied. They were not far from the hospital, so they arrived in no time. Baiya just stopped the car. Gu Lingqing turned her face and his lips landed on hers. Baiya was shocked. Before she could react, he let go of her. Baiya, you're so silly. Su Jieran is not worthy of your love, Gu Lingqing said meaningfully. He'll grow up eventually, Baiya sighed. Chapter 56. Baiya didn't understand what Gu Lingqing meant, so she didn't dare to reply. Gu Lingqing smiled and poked her nose. Idiot, let's go. We're getting out of the car. Baiya watched him open the car door and get off. She didn't dare to ask. She got off the car, took out the car key, locked the car door and passed the key to Gu Lingqing. I'll leave the key with you first. You can drive the car first since you don't have a car, Gu Lingqing said and walked in front. Baiya felt that his words meant that he was giving her the car to drive. It's not convenient for you to drive now. I'll return the key to you tomorrow, Baiya said. Gu Lingqing looked at her. You know what I mean. Maybe you'd prefer me to drive you to and from work every day? Baiya's heart was trembling. She lowered her head. The gift is too expensive. I can't accept it. I'll repay you with my body, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. He looked ahead coldly and quickened his pace. Baiya felt that he didn't dare to accept the gift because he wanted her. But he said it out loud. She was speechless. Gu Lingqing walked to the door of her room and stopped. Baiya opened the door with a conflicted heart. Gu Lingqing walked in with a cool look on his face. Baiya went to boil water and turned on the TV. Gu Lingqing wasn't watching the TV. Instead, he was browsing on his phone. She stood there awkwardly and opened the packaging of the instant noodles. Suddenly, she felt Gu Lingqing approaching her. Her back stiffened and she didn't dare to breathe. Why didn't you accept my gift and return what I gave you before, huh? Gu Lingqing asked directly. She already felt that the air was thin when she was in the same space with him, let alone when he was standing behind her. I don't like to accept things from others casually, Baiya explained. He turned her face to face with him. We're going to get married in the future. You can't just accept my things casually, right? Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Aren't we not married yet? Baiya pushed his hand away. Gu Lingqing sneered and saw her resistance. I'll sleep here tonight. What? Baiya looked at her in shock. Her eyes widened, and she could not stay calm. It's not like we haven't slept together before. What are you worried about? I promise not to touch you, so I won't. Gu Lingqing said and turned around. I'm going to take a shower first. Baiya stared at his back. She wasn't worried about what he would do, but she was worried that her rationality was too weak to do anything to him. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. A man and a woman alone in a room. He had that kind of feeling for her again. What if there was a fire and they caught on fire? She would regret it even if she refused. Baiya took the opportunity while he was taking a shower and said, I don't think it's suitable to stay in the same room. I've made you some instant noodles. I'll sleep in the car. She did not wait for his reply and walked out of the door. Gu Lingqing rushed over. Baiya had just touched the handle when he picked her up and threw her on the bed. She remembered that Gu Lingqing was pressing on her shoulders. The water droplets on his hair dripped on her body. His cold, handsome face was tense, and his eyes were full of anger as he stared at her. Do you want to make me angry? Gu Lingqing said coldly. Baiya did not know how to explain, and pushed his shoulders. His body was wet, and his shoulders were cold. She realized that he was taking a cold shower, and felt a strange pity in her heart. She replied, "I'm afraid something will happen." "What happened?" Gu Lingqing's eyes became dreamy. She found it hard to speak, so she lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes covered her eyelids, like a shy bride. Gu Lingqing's abdomen tightened, and his blood flowed in reverse. He frowned. He faced her as if it was useless no matter how many cold showers he took. He could not control the urge in his body at all. Or rather, he did not want to control it at all. It was not like they had not done it before. Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed her lips. Baya pushed him away in panic. He was like Mount Tai, not moving an inch. Baya felt that his breath was getting heavier and heavier, and it fell on her face. The temperature in the room was also getting higher. Her mind was buzzing. She could not push him away, and her hands were trembling. His large palm moved down her slender waist. Baya twisted her waist and touched his sensitive parts. She felt like she was a wolf in a tiger's den, and made a final struggle. Even if Gu Lingqing raped her now, what could she do? Sue him? She would not do that. There would be no result if she sued him. However, she was not willing to have sex with him just like that. Gu Lingqing felt Baya's resistance. He maintained his last bit of rationality and stopped. He looked at her with pain in his eyes. "Xiaoya, don't move from now on. I won't go in. But if you move, I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself. Can you trust me?" Baya looked at him while trembling. Her eyes were wet and all kinds of thoughts were fighting in her mind. Gu Lingqing did not wait for her to reply. He was afraid that he would hear something he did not want to hear. He leaned over and kissed her forehead, the corner of her eyes and her cheeks. His kiss was much gentler than before. Baya did not dare to move. Gu Lingqing turned off the lights. It was pitch black in front of her. "Gu Lingqing, what are you doing?" "I can't see anything," Baya asked in fear. "Do you want to see? Then I'll turn on the lights," Gu Lingqing said hoarsely. Baya seemed to realize what he wanted to do. She quickly said, "I don't want to see." Listen, I'll be responsible for you," Gu Lingqing promised. Baya looked at him in the night. His shadow was very blurry, but his eyes were very bright. They were like gems in the dark. With the cover of the night, she was not as resistant and uncomfortable as before. Her face blushed a little. He was kissing her, from her cheeks to her lips, and then to her neck. His hot breath was on her skin. Her legs were warm. Baya knew what it was. Although he did not touch the bottom line, she also felt that this was not good. It was not good at all. She really did not understand how powerful Su Jiran was. He could have sex with so many women. Did he not think about his married status? Even if he thought of himself as single, did he not feel guilty towards her? Even if he did not feel guilty towards her, what about Xing Jinyan? She would not be like this. If she loved one, she would never have sex with another. "Gu Lingqing, are you done?" Baya urged. Gu Lingqing did not answer her. He kissed her lips again. Her heart was beating fast. Although she did not see it, she could guess that he must be very powerful. So powerful that she could feel its explosive power. She did not know why, but she thought of the man from 3 years ago. That man was also very powerful, domineering, and fierce like a beast. Chapter 57. He hugged her tightly and pulled her into his embrace. The air was filled with the scent of love, wantonly entering her nose. Baya didn't dare to move. His breath fell on her neck, tickling her fragile heart. After a long while, Baya cleared her throat. "You're done?" "Yeah," Gu Lingqing replied. His voice was deep and didn't lose its sensuality. In the quiet night, it sounded especially pleasant, just like a radio announcer, causing one's imagination to run wild. "Then do you want to take a shower?" Baya reminded her. Mainly because he was hugging her now. She felt very hot and her body was sticky. "Not at the moment. There's no need to take a cold shower. Go to sleep, it's already very late," Gu Lingqing said gently. But he did it. She was too embarrassed to say anything else, so she closed her eyes. She thought she couldn't sleep, since there was a man lying behind her. But she was too tired, so she fell asleep after a while and didn't even eat the instant noodles. By the time she woke up, it was already morning. Baya looked beside her, but Gu Lingqing was no longer there. Gu Lingqing, Baya called. No one answered her. She saw that the car keys were still on the table, so Gu Lingqing probably didn't leave the hotel. Where did he go so early in the morning? Baya walked into the washroom. Gu Lingqing had brushed her teeth, and the toothbrush was placed in the cup. He had squeezed some toothpaste on her toothbrush and placed it on top of the cup. Baya felt a warmth in her heart. Gu Lingqing looked cold, but sometimes he was quite meticulous. She brushed her teeth and walked out of the hotel. Gu Lingqing walked over from the road, carrying a plastic bag in his hand. He walked in front of her, and the morning sunlight fell on his handsome face. His handsomeness was even more dazzling than the sun. Unconsciously, Baya's heart skipped a few beats. Let's have breakfast. I've already bought it. Let's go after breakfast, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and walked in front. And you woke up early? Baya asked, following behind him. If I don't wake up, it will wake up, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Who is he? Baya was puzzled. Gu Lingqing looked at her with deep meaning in his eyes. Baya knew what it meant. She blushed and lowered her head. Gu Lingqing held her hand and said impatiently, hurry up and get a divorce. Baya pulled out her hand and opened the door without saying a word. The 2 bowls of instant noodles on the table yesterday, Gu Lingqing had already gone missing. He took out the breakfast he had bought. 2 steamers of xilongbao, 2 steamers of shumai, 2 deep-fried dough sticks, 2 cups of tofu soup, and 2 herbal tea eggs. He bought quite a lot. Baya ate breakfast quietly. Gu Lingqing looked at her. Did I scare you yesterday? Baya didn't dare to answer. If she said she was scared, Gu Lingqing would definitely be angry. She said no, as if she was inviting him to continue. Are we going back in the afternoon? Baya skipped over his question and asked. Normally we will go back in the afternoon, Gu Lingqing replied. I have to work tomorrow, Baya reminded him. Have you filled in the application form for working in the military? Baya paused. No one filled it for me. I'll go back and tell the hospital to handle it as soon as possible, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baya leaned on the table, drinking the tofu soup and looking at him with her beautiful eyes. In fact, she didn't want to work in the military. In fact, she didn't want to marry him either. But why did it seem that she was led by the nose by him? There was no room for rejection at all. What exactly went wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Gu Lingqing asked. Can I not work in the military? Baya asked. I can't. Gu Lingqing refused simply and neatly. What if I insist on not going? What do you think? Gu Lingqing asked back, his eyes sharpening. Baya sighed. She relied on Gu Lingqing to get her current job. One word from him, and she would definitely lose her job. If she didn't go, she wouldn't know how to appreciate his kindness. He was giving her a promotion. Baya lowered her head and ate the soup dumplings. Gu Lingqing saw her disappointment and felt helpless. You really don't want to work in the military? If you come to my side, I can take care of you. No one will dare to bully you in the military. In fact, I'm very busy with work, so I don't have many chances to see you. If I work in the military, we can see each other every day. Baya was very touched when she heard that. She and Sujiran had been married for 3 years. It wasn't that they didn't have the chance to see each other, but that Sujiran didn't want to see her. That marriage had consumed all her energy and feelings. Gu Lingqing was like a poppy. She knew that if she ate too much, she would get addicted, and she might not be able to quit. However, before her rationality could reject her, she had already fallen into the trap again and again. She decided not to struggle anymore. She would give it a try. Baya took the initiative to kiss Gu Lingqing's lips. I'll apply. Her kiss was like a dragonfly touching the surface of the water. It couldn't satisfy him at all. This time, it was the first time she had truly compromised. Gu Lingqing was excited. He pressed the back of her neck and kissed her back. His red tongue entered her mouth. He lifted the tip of her tongue and entangled her like a pair of lotus flowers. Baya closed her eyes. His kiss deepened. It was so deep that his blood was boiling. His abdomen started to tighten again. He couldn't continue anymore, so he let go of her. Her lips were already swollen from his kiss, and they were dyed with a beautiful color. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and changed the topic. Eat more. You're too skinny. I'll go take a shower. Okay, Baya replied. She lowered her head in embarrassment. When she saw him, she turned her face away even more embarrassedly. When he came out, she had finished her breakfast. I'll wait for you outside. Okay. Gu Lingqing actually agreed in a good mood. In the car, Gu Lingqing helped her with the navigation. Baya drove. If you don't like this car, I'll get you another one, Gu Lingqing said. It was a statement. There's no need for a car. My workplace is not far from the hospital, Baya blurted out. Gu Lingqing looked at her. There was a hidden sharpness in his deep eyes. He was a little angry. You're still living in Su Jiran's house? No, I'm living with Shuangniu. She has a car. I take her car to work every day, Baya explained. How many rooms does she have? Gu Lingqing asked thoughtfully. 2. So it's quite spacious for the two of us. Is the soundproofing good at her place? Gu Lingqing continued to ask. Baya. She seemed to have misunderstood. Did Gu Lingqing mean that he wanted to do something with her at Lu Shuang's place? No. Baya quickly replied and dispelled his thoughts. Chapter 58. Didn't you apply to go to the military? If you apply, the military will arrange accommodation for you. That way you won't have to drive. Also, if I go out, I should be able to apply for a military car, right? Baya asked. Gu Lingqing nodded. I almost forgot about that. Soon, they arrived at Soldier 108's door. Before he entered the house, he could already hear the sounds of crying and arguing inside. Baya had a bad feeling. She unbuckled her seatbelt and followed Gu Lingqing in. Gold, put down the knife. If you die, what will I do? You're my only son, Soldier 108's mother cried. Gu Lingqing rushed into the room. Baya saw a man on the bed holding a knife to his neck. He was very emotional and his eyes were red. He had lost both his legs. Number 108. What are you doing? Put down the knife, Gu Lingqing said sternly. Number 108 saw the chief and paused. He didn't put down the knife. I'm useless now. What's the point of living? There are no cowards in the army. Even if your limbs are broken, you have no right to end your life, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and walked towards number 108. Number 108 raised his chin. The knife was about to enter his skin. Don't come over. I don't have legs. What can I do for the country? I don't want to be a burden to my wife. We've only been married for 3 months. She won't have a happy life in the future. Don't mention her. She already asked for a divorce. Why are you still thinking about her? Number 108's mother said sadly. Gu Lingqing had a rough idea of what was going on. After number 108's surgery, he strongly requested to leave the military hospital and go home. It was probably because of this wife. Now that his wife asked for a divorce, it must have triggered him. Where's his wife? Call her here, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Gold's wife refused to come. She said she won't come until the divorce is over. That ingrate. Other than the 200,000 betrothal gifts, it's almost all of our savings, number 108's mother said angrily and sadly. Where is she now? Gu Lingqing asked. She lives in Yellow Flower Village number 20. The village next door, number 108's mother said. Number 108, show me your courage. Don't let a woman look down on you. I'm going now, said Gu Lingqing sharply. Then he turned around and walked out of the door. Baya followed suit. Isn't number 108's wife pregnant? Is she going to get a divorce even if she's pregnant? Let's take a look first. Gu Lingqing adjusted the navigation. The neighboring village was not far, and they arrived in 5 minutes. Gu Lingqing saw that the door was closed. He knocked on the door. An old lady opened the door. I'm leader Jin Zi. I'm here to see Jin Zi's wife. Gu Lingqing explained the purpose of his visit. Yaya doesn't want to see anyone, the old lady said with a troubled look. Didn't she want a divorce? I'm here to discuss these issues with her, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Let him in. The voice of the golden wife rang out. Gu Lingqing entered the room. Goldie's wife stood in front of Gu Lingqing. You are Goldie's leader. Yes. I want a divorce, the golden wife said directly. Just because he doesn't have legs doesn't mean he can't give you happiness. He came from the special forces, so he won't have any problems with his physical strength, Gu Lingqing said vaguely. Goldie's wife's eyes turned red. We've been married for 3 months. Other than spending time together on our wedding night, he hasn't gone home even once. Now he has time at home. You want me to accompany a man with the lower half of his body? I don't want to. People will laugh at me, Goldie's wife said firmly. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. You can't get a divorce in a military marriage unless the soldier has made a grave mistake. Your husband is a hero, a pillar of the country. You can't get a divorce. But he can die. If he dies, I'll be free. I'm only 21. There's no need to waste my youth on a useless person like him, Goldie's wife said coldly. Baya felt a chill in her heart. She looked at the stomach of Goldie's wife. Don't forget that you have a baby in your stomach. I've already aborted the baby. Why would I give a child to a useless person? If I give birth to his child, my life will be over, Goldie's wife said ruthlessly. Baya wanted to slap her. What she killed was her own flesh and blood. That kind of woman was not worthy of gold. What's the condition for you not to get a divorce? Gu Lingqing negotiated. You can mention it. Goldie's wife paused. How much can you compensate Goldie? How much do you want to compensate? Gu Lingqing asked. 2 million. It must be 2 million. I'll get a divorce even if it's a penny less, Goldie's wife said. I'll compensate Goldie 2 million. Also, I'll give his parents a pension. If you don't get a divorce, I'll give it to you too. Now come with me to see Goldie. He needs you to take care of him. Also, I hope he can go to the military hospital for treatment, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and turned around. When Goldie's wife heard that it was 2 million, she followed behind Gu Lingqing. Will you really compensate 2 million? I have no reason to lie to you, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Then we won't get a divorce. Goldie listens to me. I'll let him go to the military hospital. Goldie's wife changed her attitude. They drove back. When Goldie saw that his wife was back, he let go and the knife fell on the bed. All right, we won't get a divorce. Let's go to the military hospital for treatment. I'll take care of you, Goldie's wife said. Goldie smiled and looked at Gu Lingqing gratefully. Thank you, Chief. I'll arrange it. Someone will bring you to the hospital. Also, the compensation will be paid within a month. Take care of yourself, Gu Lingqing said simply and turned around to leave. In the car, Baya looked at Gu Lingqing with a heavy heart. She understood his feelings. Goldie was his soldier, so he should be very sad. Goldie's wife is not worthy of Goldie. Perhaps there's nothing wrong with a divorce. Separation is a chance for everyone, Baya said with deep understanding. Goldie really cares about his wife. Even if she's not good, she's what he wants. I can't make a decision for Goldie because of my own opinion. All I can do is fulfill his wish, Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya and held her hand. Baya saw the pain that flowed through his eyes. What's wrong? A soldier's marriage can't be divorced. If we get married, we'll be together for the rest of our lives. I swear that I won't let you down in my life. In exchange, I'll let you follow me with your heart forever, Gu Lingqing said seriously. That's right. A soldier's marriage can't be divorced. If she was with him, it would be impossible for them to be separated. Because of her injury, she threw herself into someone's arms so quickly. Did she lack thinking? However, a soldier's discipline was very strong. If he was strict with himself, she would definitely not leave him. Chapter 59. They went back. I'll take you to the military area first? Baya asked. Let's go to your place first. I'll drive. The injury on my arm is almost healed, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and sat in the driver's seat. Baya returned the key to him and sat in the front passenger seat. When it was almost noon, they returned to Lu Shuang's place. Baiya got out of the car and so did Gu Lingqing. Aren't you going to invite me in? Gu Lingqing asked. Since he had already asked, she was too embarrassed to refuse. She wondered if Lu Shuang was back. She opened the door. Lu Shuang wasn't back. Luckily, she had cleaned the house before so it didn't look messy. She went to look for shoes to see if there were any for men. Gu Lingqing picked up the book she had left on the coffee table. Baiya wanted to grab it, but it was too late. She was learning Russian and copying his notes. Well, I dropped your book in the water and it's wrinkled. I want to give it back to you after I finish copying it, Baiya explained. I heard that you're learning Russian? Gu Lingqing asked, slowly flipping through the notes she had written. Baiya's handwriting was delicate, and every stroke was clear and not sloppy at all. Her handwriting was like her person. She was actually very rigid, traditional, serious, and serious. Baiya guessed that it was Lu Shuang who told her about it, so there was nothing to hide. I have that plan. It's a bit difficult for you to learn it alone. I'll teach you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and sat down on the sofa. Baiya sat down next to him embarrassedly. She was a little nervous and asked, Why do you want to learn Russian? His eyes dimmed a little. I was on a mission in Russia, and I found a local translator, but the translator deliberately made a mistake, which led to the death of a comrade. From that day on, I started to learn all kinds of languages. What about you? Why do you want to learn Russian? It's probably a coincidence. Baiya didn't want to tell him the reason. In fact, she was just trying to kill time, or maybe she was thinking of him. She thought that she and Gu Lingqing would never cross paths again, so she wanted to leave behind some beautiful memories. Gu Lingqing looked at her blushing face. Because of me? He, there's no special reason, Baiya said guiltily, not even daring to look him in the eye. Gu Lingqing looked at her shy look, and his eyes became more charming. He lifted her chin and said, Actually, I want to teach you something else. His gaze moved from her beautiful big eyes to her red lips, and his eyes became misty. Remember, I will only teach you, and you can only have me as your teacher. Baiya knew what he was talking about. However, he didn't give her too much time to think and kissed her on the lips. He wasn't in a hurry to enter. His tongue lingered on her lips, moistening her heart, and then slowly entered her mouth. His hands unbuttoned her clothes, one button at a time. Baiya pushed him away. Didn't we agree to wait until after the divorce? Gu Lingqing let go of her. He couldn't control himself every time he was with her. He hated her current identity. Are you hungry? Let's go out and eat. Gu Lingqing changed the topic. Okay. Baiya quickly stood up and unbuttoned her shirt. They went out. Baiya had just gotten into Gu Lingqing's car when her phone rang. She took out her phone from her bag and saw that it was Su Jiran calling. She instinctively didn't want to answer it. She hung up. Su Jiran called again. Baiya adjusted herself and answered the call. What's up? Can't I call you if there's nothing? Su Jiran said evilly. I think you'll be very busy. I'll come to see you no matter how busy I am. Aren't you at home? Su Jiran looked at the window of Baiya's room. Baiya didn't want to chat with him. I'm staying at Lu Shuang's place. I have something to do. I'll hang up first. Baiya didn't wait for his reply and hung up. I don't think you should tell him where you're staying, Gu Lingqing said coldly. He'll know that he's a pervert even if I don't tell him. I'll tell him that I'm staying at Lu Shuang's place. He knows Lu Shuang's temper, so he won't do anything stupid, Baiya explained. I'll arrange a place for you tomorrow. I don't want him to have a chance to harass you, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Now that Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan were showing off their affection, she didn't think that Su Jiran would harass her again. However, seeing that Gu Lingqing had made up his mind, she didn't say anything. After dinner, Gu Lingqing drove her back. Well, you still have a lot of things to do in the military like the gold, Baiya reminded him. He really should go back to the military for a meeting. I'll call you later, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay. Soon he drove Baiya downstairs. Baiya unbuckled her seatbelt and got out of the car. Gu Lingqing followed her. Baiya, he called. Baiya looked at him. He didn't say anything. He lowered his head and kissed Baiya's lips. Baya's heart was beating so fast that it felt like it was going to jump out of her throat. They were in broad daylight. It would be bad if someone saw them. She pushed him away. Gu Lingqing pinched her nose. Coward, you'll be fine when you stop being a coward. You go back, Baya said, blushing. She turned around and walked to the elevator. Gu Lingqing's lips curled up slightly. He went back to the car and drove away. None of them noticed that there was a car in the dark. Su Jiaran narrowed his eyes, and there was a dangerous coldness in them. When he saw that Gu Lingqing kissed Baya, and Baya didn't reject it, he felt very uncomfortable, as if someone had buried a thorn in his heart. He was jealous, and his face turned livid. When he thought that after he divorced Baya would blossom under Gu Lingqing, he couldn't stay calm anymore. He picked up his phone and made a call. Baya saw that the caller was still Su Jiaran. She really didn't want to answer it, so she hung up. She took a shower and washed her clothes. When she thought of Gu Lingqing's kiss and what happened in the hotel, a strange feeling flowed in her heart. Half an hour later, a message rang on her phone. Baya saw that it was from Lu Shuang. I'm in room 1809 of Junkie Hotel. Come over quickly. I have something important to discuss. Baya was surprised. If Lu Shuang had something to talk to her about, why didn't he come back and tell her? Instead, he invited her to the hotel? Besides, Lu Shuang should have called her. Baya dialed Lu Shuang's number. Su Jiaran sat on the sofa gloomily, playing with Lu Shuang's phone. When he saw that it was a call from Baya, he hung up. Lu Shuang was Baya's only friend. According to his understanding of her, no matter how suspicious she would definitely come back. Thinking of this, his eyes were overflowing with color. He got up and went to the bathroom to take a shower. Baya came to the door of room 1809. The more she thought about it, the more strange she felt. She was worried that something had happened to Lu Shuang. Before she came, she bought pepper spray and put it in her bag vigilantly. She rang the doorbell, and the door was opened. Chapter 60. Seeing that it was Su Jiaran who opened the door, Baya was very surprised. She realized that something had happened to Lu Shuang. Where is Lu Shuang? Baya asked, looking behind Su Jiaran. Su Jiaran smiled wickedly and moved aside. Come in and talk. Baya saw him dressed like that, and subconsciously held her bag tightly. There is no need to come in. Why is Lu Shuang's phone with you? Where is she? Seeing that she did not come in, Su Jiaran picked up Lu Shuang's phone, opened the photo album, and handed it to Baya. Baya took the phone suspiciously. She saw the photo album on the phone. It was actually a nude photo of Lu Shuang. She widened her eyes in surprise. Keep looking, there are many more, Su Jiaran said with a smile. He looked at her aggressively, but there was no smile in his eyes. Where is Lu Shuang? Where is she now? What did you do to her? Baya asked anxiously. I will give you 3 seconds to come in. After 3 seconds, I will post these photos on the internet. Su Jiaran. You are despicable, Baya said angrily. You call this despicable? You are looking down on me. Su Jiaran nodded and glanced at the room. The male lead is Shen Yan. As long as these photos are posted, even if Lu Shuang does not want to marry him, she will have to marry him. As far as I know, Shen Yan has more women than me. You've seen what he's like, Su Jiaran said with a smile. Baya had no choice but to step into his room and said helplessly, What do you want? Su Jiaran closed the door slowly. Hearing the door click, Baya's heart tightened and her back stiffened. He put his hand on her shoulder. The hairs on her body stood on end. Su Jiaran seemed to be playing a psychological game. He leaned over and whispered in her ear, There's no need for a month. I can tell you my decision now. I won't divorce. Baya glanced at Su Jiaran. She was no longer calm. Why don't you get a divorce? The person you love is Xing Jinyan. The person who made you spend so much money is also Xing Jinyan. And the person who is more compatible with you is Xing Jinyan. If you mind me spending a fortune for Xing Jinyan, I can also do the same for you. Two people who don't love each other living together will only make them more tired of each other, roared Baya. Su Jiaran held her waist and pulled her closer. Baya pushed his chest. Then fall in love again, Su Jiran ordered. Impossible, Baya said with certainty. Su Jiran looked down at her with a murderous look in his sharp eyes. I'll give you 1 day to break up with Gu Lingqing. Otherwise, I'll start with Lu Shuang. Su Jiran took back Lu Shuang's phone from Baya's hand and waved it. Baya's heart skipped a beat. Where is Lu Shuang now? He should have gone back. I'll wait for your news tomorrow, said Su Jiran as he let go of Baya's hand. His eyes were full of disdain and coldness. Baya rushed out of Su Jiran's room and returned to Lu Shuang's place. Lu Shuang was really back. Shuang, where have you been? Baya asked worriedly. Lu Shuang shrugged. I was bitten by a pig. I went to the hospital to have a full body checkup in case I got sick. How could this happen? Baya's eyes turned red. It's all my fault. I was careless. When I was taking photos of Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan, I was discovered by Su Jiran. He's such a pervert. He took my phone and gave Shen Yan and me drugs. I'm so angry. Lu Shuang was annoyed. Lu Shuang. Baya held Lu Shuang's hand tightly. Should we sue him? Please don't. Shen Yan's identity is very special. I don't want to go for wool and come home shorn. It's fine to lose him once. If he wants me to marry him, he might as well kill me, said Lu Shuang impatiently. Baya's heart sank. She looked at Lu Shuang with pity. I'm sorry, Xiaobai. I wanted to help you get the evidence, but I was framed. Next time, I won't let Su Jiran go. I promise, said Lu Shuang. Baya's eyes dimmed. Lu Shuang was in trouble because of her. She couldn't ruin Lu Shuang's reputation and force him to marry Shen Yan again. Lu Shuang's character was the complete opposite of hers. She could endure the hardships of life. But Lu Shuang couldn't. If Lu Shuang married someone he didn't love and couldn't get a divorce, it would be more painful than killing her. Lu Shuang was her only good friend. Tears flowed out of her eyes. They were warm and wet. Seeing Baya crying, Lu Shuang hurriedly comforted her. Xiaobai, don't cry. I'm fine. I'll just take it that I've slept with a skillful, handsome, and well-built young man. It's not a loss. Baya lowered her head and raised the corner of her mouth. She didn't want Lu Shuang to worry. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She knew that she was crying for her love with Gu Lingqing. It ended without a beginning. She was still crying for her fate. It seemed that God was always playing a joke on her. But at least she had a clear conscience. She would never feel at ease for the rest of her life if she hurt Lu Shuang. How could she be happy? Her love should not be built on hurting others, especially her good friends. Crying and crying, Baya couldn't control herself. She sat on the sofa, buried her face in her palms, and cried out loud. Although Lu Shuang was careless, he also felt that something was wrong. Xiaobai, what's wrong? Su Jiran bullied you again, didn't he? I'll go and fight with him. He's a big jerk. He should get lost, Lu Shuang said angrily and walked towards the door. Shuang Niu. Baya was worried about Lu Shuang. She was no match for Su Jiran. Su Jiran was from the health bureau. One word from him could make Lu Shuang's father step down. She didn't want Lu Shuang to be impulsive. It has nothing to do with Su Jiran. I'm sad about what happened between me and Gu Lingqing, Baya explained. Oh, how are you and him? Lu Shuang asked with concern. Baya shook her head and wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. Nothing much. I want to treat him to dinner tonight. Can you give us some space? Of course, no problem. You should get close to Gu Lingqing and get rid of Su Jiran. Su Jiran is a scumbag among scumbags. At most, he can't change his scumbag nature, Lu Shuang said angrily. She felt that she was still quite clean and pure. In university, when her classmates were busy dating, she studied hard and worked part-time when she was free. She never dated, let alone had sex with men. Except for the time when she was raped, her second time was still there. She had been shaken and wanted to marry Gu Lingqing after the divorce. But now, she might not be able to get a divorce for the rest of her life. Su Jiran might even. She wanted to marry Gu Lingqing completely before she was tarnished. It could be a beautiful memory, a repayment, or an end. She didn't want to have any regrets. Chapter 61. Baya plucked up her courage and called Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing, this is Baya. I want to treat you to dinner tonight. Are you free? Baya asked. Her eyes were already red. Yeah, I'll come over when I'm free, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baya frowned. She turned her face away and hung up the phone before she revealed her emotions. Last time, she invited him to dinner because she wanted to make things clear to him. This time, they still couldn't go on. She felt uncomfortable. There was a pressure in her body that couldn't find an outlet. It was about to burn her up. She threw the phone on the floor. Lu Shuang heard the noise outside and walked out of the room. She saw that Baya was not right. She asked worriedly, Xiao Bai, what's wrong? Is Gu Lingqing unwilling to come over? Baya shook her head. She reached out and held Lu Shuang in her arms. She said in a choked voice, Promise me that you will be happy in the future. Yeah, Xiao Bai, what happened? Don't scare me, Lu Shuang asked. He pushed Baya away and looked at Baya's eyes. Baya smiled. She just wanted to bear all the bad things alone. If she told Lu Shuang, it would only make Lu Shuang sad and impulsive. It's nothing. I just felt something. I'll go out to buy groceries later. I can't stay with you. Baya picked up the phone on the floor. Lu Shuang watched Baya go out. Her figure was very lonely. He didn't know why, but he had a feeling that something big had happened. Baya went to the supermarket. She remembered that Gu Lingqing couldn't eat lobster. She chose a crucian carp, fillet, beef tenderloin, green peppers, eggs, meat slices, carrots, tofu, and 2 bottles of wine. At the checkout counter, she took 2 boxes of Durex. After paying, she quickly put the Durex into her handbag. She went back and made a tofu crucian carp soup, braised pork ribs, a green pepper beef tenderloin, and carrot slices. She also minced some of the meat slices and made stewed eggs. After he was done, he took a shower and sat at the dining table in a daze. Gu Lingqing dealt with the military affairs as fast as he could, and went to the place where Baya was now. He knocked on the door and Baya opened it. A burst of rich aroma wafted into his nose. It had the warmth of home. He walked in, and Baya closed the door. He grasped her arm, pulled her to him, leaned down, and kissed her lips. Baya closed her eyes and didn't push him away. After today, they would really become 2 strangers. From now on, we will not contact each other again. She wanted to burn herself with all her might. Tonight, don't think about right or wrong. Gu Lingqing felt the wetness at the corner of his mouth and looked at Baya in surprise. Why are you crying? Did I hurt you? Before she met him, she almost never cried. To her, tears were just a sign of weakness. Crying made her enemies happy and her loved ones in pain. However, when she thought about how they were going to be apart, her tears flowed uncontrollably. Baya shook her head and smiled like a pear blossom. You're early. Isn't the meal ready? Gu Lingqing wiped the tears at the corner of his eyes, kissed her on the cheek, and held her hand as they walked to the dining table. Baya sat down at the dining table and poured some red wine for them. Gu Lingqing tasted a piece of braised pork ribs. How is it? Baya wanted to know and asked. Very good. Gu Lingqing praised and ate another piece. Baya propped her head up, took a sip of wine, and looked at him in a daze. When they first met, he was so high and mighty, distant and noble. She didn't expect that they would have such a day. They ate together, tasted wine together, and were like lovers. Previously, he had forced her to the point that she couldn't breathe. When she was about to lose him, she realized that she was actually willing to be with him. People always cherish things after they have lost them. What they care about is always what they can't get and what they have lost. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. Why are you looking at me like that? You're not eating? You're so handsome. Your eyebrows are beautiful. Your eyes are beautiful. Your nose is beautiful. And your lips are beautiful too, Baya said softly. Gu Lingqing was quite pleased with her compliment. Are you infatuated? Baya took a sip of red wine and held it in her mouth. The wine was bitter and astringent, just like her current mood. She stood up, moved her face closer to Gu Lingqing and kissed him on the lips. Gu Lingqing looked at her. The current Baya was a little special. She was much more passionate than usual. Do you want it? Gu Lingqing asked. There was an additional layer of fantasy in his eyes as he looked at her. Baya replied, not denying it. Gu Lingqing only felt a stream of hot blood starting from his brain and rushing to his abdomen. Her destroyed all his rationality, forbearance and reserve. Gu Lingqing pressed the back of her head and deepened the kiss. He entered her mouth and pulled her into his arms. Baya hugged the back of his neck and kissed him back. Their breaths intertwined in the air and landed on each other's faces. To her, Gu Lingqing was like the sun, emitting heat and falling on her cold skin. She longed for the sun to drive away the coldness in her heart. But she was also worried that if she got too close, she would burn herself. Baya kissed along his lips to his Adam's apple. She tangled with his rolling for a while, and her fingers trembled as she unbuttoned his suit. Gu Lingqing carried her up. Is that room yours? The one on the left. Aren't you going to shower? Baya asked, her face turning red. Together? Gu Lingqing asked, his voice a little hoarse. I've just showered. You can shower. I put a towel in the bathroom. It's the one I used before. I've washed it, it's clean, Baya said gently. Gu Lingqing smiled and put her on the bed. I don't mind you. He walked into the bathroom. When Baya heard the sound of water, her heart beat extremely fast. She exhaled, exhaled, and exhaled again. She pulled the curtains down and put the condoms in her bag on the table. After thinking for a while, she took off her clothes, put them on the bedside table, and crawled under the blanket. She still felt nervous. She was also 24 years old, reaching the age where women were more important. She had been in an empty house for 3 years, and her husband had cheated on her a few times. She shouldn't feel guilty. She shouldn't feel constrained either. Baya kept convincing herself and numbing herself. Soon, she might not be able to withstand the torture and die. Before she died, if she didn't have something with Gu Lingqing, she wouldn't be able to rest in peace. Thinking of this, she calmed down a lot. Gu Lingqing came out of the bathroom with a towel wrapped around his waist, revealing his chocolate-like abs. He walked towards Baya. His figure was too burly, and Baya didn't dare to look at him, so she buried her face in the blanket. Gu Lingqing sat on the bed, lifted the blanket, and revealed his face. Chapter 62. Baya nodded. She had thought it through very clearly. She lowered her head. Her long eyelashes left a silhouette at the corner of her eyes. Still shadow-sinking jade was so beautiful. There was a surge of emotions in his heart, flowing into his blood. He rolled over and pulled the covers off her. She was like a holy white jade. Her skin was smooth and transparent, and her stomach was flat. She was as beautiful as a forest elf. He looked down at her and kissed her lips, her neck, her collarbone, and down her beautiful curves. Baya let out a soft moan. She wasn't too sure about that feeling, but she felt that wherever Gu Lingqing passed by, there would be waves of indescribable feelings. He was more meticulous than she had imagined. Usually, he was domineering, not giving her any breathing space. But this time he was very gentle, patient, and not in a hurry. He was also afraid that he would hurt her, making her afraid and resistant. Gu Lingqing placed his hand on her knee and lowered his head. Baya's muscles were tense, and she clenched her fists. She didn't know that she could do this, and her voice became sharper. No, Gu Lingqing can't do this. Under his touch, she became more and more excited, until Gu Lingqing heard her crying voice and guessed that she had done it. Baya felt embarrassed, and she turned her face away, not daring to look at him. Gu Lingqing smiled, held her chin, and made her look at him. Not bad, he said. Baya's eyes flickered and she responded, Gu Lingqing laughed happily. Her acknowledgement made him happier than winning a battle. He kissed her slowly, letting her get used to it. 3 years ago, he was controlled by the drug, and he was very rough and barbaric. He should have made her suffer for the first time. With guilt and the intention to make it up to her, he kissed her lips very slowly this time. Baya felt the pain and her face paled. The first time in her memory brought her nothing but pain. Actually, she really didn't understand why those women liked to have sex with Su Jiran so much. It obviously didn't feel good. Could it be because of love? Baya gasped. She did not cry out in pain. Even her cries of surprise were suppressed. But Gu Lingqing knew that she was in pain. Xiaoya, relax. I won't hurt you. I promise, I'll be responsible for you. Gu Lingqing tried his best to comfort her. Baiya stared at him. Because it was him, she gradually relaxed. She still remembered the first time she saw him. He told her that as long as he was alive, nothing would happen to her. The second time, because of him, she was drunk, but she was safe and sound. He even gave her a set of cosmetics. The third time they met, she had helped him pretend to be his girlfriend, and he had protected her from injury. At that time, she had felt that he was so manly. And then there was the fourth, fifth, and sixth meeting. He always protected her. In the future, they might not meet again. Even if they did, they could only treat each other as strangers. Baiya wrapped her arms around his waist and pulled him to her side. Even if it was painful, she was willing to bear it. She took the initiative to kiss Gu Lingqing. She closed her eyes and felt that he was now in her world, bearing everything that he had given her. Gradually, the expected pain was no longer there. Instead, she felt very comfortable. She let go of him and looked at him attentively. Panting, sinking, panting again, sinking again. Half an hour later, Gu Lingqing held her in his arms. Only then did she remember that none of them had worked. It seemed that she should go and buy medicine. Baiya did not move in his arms. She quietly enjoyed the last warmth. He kissed her on the forehead. Thank you, Xiaoya, Gu Lingqing said in a good mood. Baiya looked at him. Thank you for giving yourself to me. Gu Lingqing smiled. When he smiled, he was very charming. She did not want to say cruel words at this time. She was too greedy for the happiness now. Baiya hugged Gu Lingqing and buried her face in his arms. She took a deep breath. And her nose was filled with his refreshing smell, like the smell of the sun on the grass. She wanted to remember him forever. She fell asleep. Maybe it was too warm now, or maybe she was too tired after the exercise. She fell asleep. When she woke up, it was already dark. Gu Lingqing was not by her side. She was a little flustered and shouted, Gu Lingqing. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing pushed the door open, turned on the light, and walked to her worriedly. Did you have a nightmare? I thought you left, Baiya said softly and sat up with the quilt covering her. I was dealing with some work. I was afraid that it would disturb you, so I went outside to deal with it, Gu Lingqing explained. You must be hungry. I'll go heat up the food for you. Baiya took her clothes. He helped her button up. Let's go together. I can't bear to let you work in the kitchen alone. Baiya's heart skipped a beat. She felt the feeling of being cherished by Gu Lingqing. Actually, this was how a husband should be, wasn't it? Cooking together, doing housework together, chatting together, sleeping together, everything together. Baiya's eyes reddened a little. She was afraid that Gu Lingqing would see through her emotions, so she lowered her head and pretended to look for her shoes. Gu Lingqing bent over, found her slippers and put them on for her. Baiya put on a long dress and followed him out. Gu Lingqing came in with the dishes, and she heated them up. If only I could eat your cooking every day. Gu Lingqing sighed. I don't really like the food prepared by the military. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing, pursed her lips, and did not say a word. Gu Lingqing tapped her nose. You don't want to? Then I'll learn and cook for you. Ah. Baiya chuckled and skipped the topic. After a while, they heated up the dishes and ate together. I've already found a lawyer. I'll send a lawyer's letter to Sujiran starting tomorrow. You can leave within a week, Gu Lingqing said. Baiya lowered her head and did not say a word. After you get divorced, I'll bring you home to meet my parents. Don't worry, even if they don't agree, I'll still marry you. They can't order me around, Gu Lingqing promised. Baiya's heart ached, and her tears dripped into the bowl. She ate it with the rice. I'm going to find a good day to get married next month. Since I've already decided, I don't want any undue delays. Gu Lingqing was in a good mood today, and it was rare for him to talk so much. Baiya closed her eyes and held the chopsticks tightly, as if she was going to break them. Gu Lingqing. Baiya raised her head and looked at him. Her eyes were red, and they were filled with tears. Gu Lingqing saw her like this, and his eyes were filled with pity. His fingertips brushed the corners of Baye's eyes. Did I say anything wrong? Baye clenched her teeth. Her heart was so sad. As if it was weighed down by 1,000 pounds. She could no longer bear it, and the weight of 1,000 pounds had crushed her heart. I've actually been playing with you, Baye said resolutely, and her tears flowed uncontrollably. You're tuning into the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.